Evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good night.
Good night. AJ's done already.
Oh, we're signing off already.
Yes.
That was the quickest episode of all time.
That's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Quickly get into episode 10.
Casual Canvas episode
9.
Are we on 9?
We're on 9.
We've done pretty well considering when we started this, we were thinking we were already going to make it to about 3.
You were.
Tell everybody else.
You
that.
were.
Well, I don't know. I just didn't have I didn't have faith that we would continue.
Jesus Christ.
I'll be honest, like I didn't.
Well,
Well,
it's a good thing we stayed committed then, isn't it?
Very good thing, and I credit that to you boys. But it's difficult because people will have lives, don't they? You have lives. Sometimes it's hard as adults to come together at the same time every single week to do things like this. Things get in the way. So
I feel like there's a little backhanded, underhand comment there.
I haven't missed a single week. I've been here every single week. It happens.
See? You see what I mean? He was saving that.
Ah, goodness.
No, it's all good, man. It's fight week.
It's fight week.
AJ, you excited?
I am very excited.
It's fight week.
I'm kind of, we'll get into it, but I'm excited for different reasons more than others. Maybe we'll have some hot takes a little bit later.
I can't wait to talk about this week, man.
And but I'm looking forward to it.
Mate, I'll just comment. We've been kind of touching on this fight week coming up for weeks and weeks, haven't we? We've always spoken about it sporadically.
Yeah, it's been on our minds for a few weeks for sure, yeah.
But also, we have a new president of the United States.
Not us. Thank God.
Okay.
Well, we don't, but the world has. A very TKO president,
Yeah.
You could say that, yeah.
I suppose. He's a big fan of both products, isn't he?
Well, he was on the one Undertaker's podcast recently, wasn't he? He was openly discussing what he thinks about wrestling and stuff, and he was talking about taking bumps and stuff as well. So he must be into it.
Well, he
was there. He's been there before as well.
he was the guest host of Monday Night Raw many years ago.
He was also on the Rogan podcast, also doing the same thing about thing.
UFC. But he turns up to a lot of UFC pay-per-views, doesn't he? Trump. Yeah. He's on the front row. He turns up for the main events, doesn't he? He likes it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
I just keep seeing the clip of him going around. So who do you say is the best? Would you say Khabib?
He has
He
the
loves
same motions,
Khabib.
like hands, the point, and then it's that, isn't
Would
it?
you say Khabib or Colby Covington?
That's the meme that's been going around online. Everyone says Colby tries so hard to be the president's favorite fighter, and he just chooses Khabib.
Is he not a Trump guy then? Is he not a Trump guy?
Who, Colby?
Colby.
Colby's
he
a
is,
massive
for
one.
sure.
He wants Trump to love him. He's the one shouting from the rooftops.
He probably
He's
does.
obviously like the all-American kind of guy, but at the same time, it's just like, oh yeah, he's like, Khabib's my favorite fighter. Russian guy who's just like, who probably has never ever mentioned Trump at all from I'm aware of.
Oh, mate, we'll try and fair enough. And do you remember he also had the hair versus hair match with Vince?
Yes, classic.
Yeah, I can't remember what Mania was. I think he had Umaga in his corner.
Yep.
Part of the Bloodline.
Yeah.
And then I think Vince he had Bobby Lashley. I'm pretty sure. And it was them two, and then whoever lost would have to shave their hair. But could you imagine if Donald Trump actually had to shave his hair off? He would look hilarious. Obviously, Vince is the man who's going to shave his hair.
Absolutely.
What one was it?
23.
WrestleMania 23.
Yeah, you're right. Umaga versus Bobby Lashley.
Mad.
I had to delve into my brains there. Yeah. So a TKO president. We can say that's probably one of the best things about him. But
Yeah, I actually saw that clip coming up the other day, actually. The way he just grabs him and he puts all that shaving cream all over his
he should have used that as part of his presidential election campaign. He should have brought that up, some clips when he was doing his rallies.
Yeah.
Trump.
There we go.
Well, fight week, AJ. So we kick off with UFC this week because obviously we are leading into the big 309 pay-per-view this weekend. We had a UFC Vegas fight night.
it seems like we're kind of alternating between the big shows quite well.
Yeah.
It's
TKO
like
will do us a favour.
every time we have a big wrestling one, then it's followed by a big MMA show. So
It's perfect.
it's lining up quite nicely.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
As far as this UFC Vegas 100, which I guess we're going to talk about now, right? We're talking about what's going to happen with Vegas and not Vegas because they do shows in Vegas, but the Apex shows in Vegas, I should say. Did you guys tune in for the event that is UFC Vegas 100?
So just so I got this right, this was the 100th event in the Apex.
Yes.
The 100th event anniversary in the Apex.
100th like show, because obviously they do Dana White Contender Series.
Yes.
They do the Apex as well. But yeah, out of the
fight
regular
night.
shows, fight nights, yeah, that's hosted in there. Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I saw bits and pieces of it. I didn't tune into the entire thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, I saw the back end of the main event, but that's as far as I got with it. But I know it was definitely an event that was hyped about, wasn't it? They were trying to big it up as a big event, being 100 at Apex, which is mad to think.
Yeah.
So when the Apex came out, well, it was invented in COVID, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, in COVID.
So yeah,
let's
100
actually go and have a look. Let's see if we can find out what the first
Yeah, have a look at that.
one is. That would be quite intriguing to me.
So COVID was
UFC
2020, wasn't it?
Yeah,
2020. So it's got to be. So yeah, I wonder how quickly they managed to get back out there, because I can't remember exactly what month the outbreak was, but yeah, UFC Apex live events and production holdings.
Oh, there you go. Someone's got the whole list here on
look at
Wikipedia.
that.
What an absolute gem.
Wikipedia,
It was
what was it,
in May 30th, 2020.
Yeah.
So that was 6 months, let's say, after the first main thing in COVID, because it happened in December, didn't it? Really? Oh no, but lockdown actually properly started in March.
I'm pretty sure it was
So it's 2 months after.
yeah, I was going to say, yeah, lockdown is when it kind of officially.
Yeah, look, yeah. So the whole COVID-19 thing started snowballing in December 2019.
Yeah.
And then it was March 2020.
Yes.
So it was 2 months after they got
impressive.
let go.
They didn't muck about.
So
Dana
UFC
wanted that cage up.
UFC Vegas 1 was Woodley versus Burns, which is actually quite a big one, to be fair.
Yeah, at the time it
Burns.
was, yeah.
Because I actually remember this now. So Woodley was gonna fight. Woodley was gonna fight in UFC London, and it got cancelled. So that was in March. That was literally the week that it happened.
Yes.
They cancelled the event, and everything was on lockdown.
Did you have tickets for that?
And no. I was going to buy. I was going to
I
buy
thought
tickets.
so. I remember talking to you about it, and you were obviously a little bit upset.
Yeah, it was an issue. But
Yeah.
at this point, so between that time, Woodley had come back after losing this is just after he lost the title.
Right.
So he lost the title to Usman,
Yes.
and then he went on to fight Burns. Burns was kind of like the next person in line, so he wanted to fight Woodley afterwards, so he could be like, I'm going to fight for the championship next. But yeah, that's crazy.
100 shows since May the 30th, 2020.
Yeah.
Well, actually, when you think about it, considering the amount of fight nights that they do every single weekend, including the numbered events, don't know. After 4 years, so I suppose it's 52 weeks. Yeah, I suppose that's about right. It's about right.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've made the most of it then, haven't they? The Apex has been a site that's really helped them. Low cost production. Easy to do on TV. They don't have to keep taking it up and down. It's just there at all times.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good for Dana, not so good for the viewer, because I think we've spoken about that before, haven't we? The environment in there is just not the same as if it's in an arena.
Well, the thing is, I think it worked for a period of time, but then after, not everything, but it kind of got stale. It was like there was a novelty at first, because you get to hear people really coming together, clashing in the cage.
Yeah.
So that was you could hear everything. You could hear the coaches in the corner. You could hear the commentary,
I remember
calling out stuff.
I remember the Gaethje Ferguson fight. That's why I think I touched on that last week, but I remember that.
Yeah.
That was a horrible. Oh, not saying that's horrible. You had everything, man.
You could literally hear the
Tony
when his
got pieced
head
up
was
as
getting
well.
thumped up. It was it sounded like a dull kind of.
Yeah.
Dull shots. But yeah, after a while, it just sort of, I think it's because also the level of as obviously we got on the other side of COVID, it's because obviously we were having those big names associated with the Apex at the time.
Yeah.
But then the moment when it got to the other side of that, and it's just like, well, we're going to put our biggest stars out in proper venues. Why are we going to keep them in the Apex now that everything's released?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
at that point, the card starts to take a bit of a slide, and then it just gets worse. And then
I still remember the first shows when they brought them back into the arena, obviously after all the time in the Apex, with no audience, no crowd, just the vibe is completely different. I feel like a breath of fresh air again, man.
Yeah,
it's insane, like the difference that a live audience makes. Like 15,000 people in an arena,
massive,
completely changes the game, man.
Massive.
You don't realize how much you actually miss it until you get to times like that where you don't have the audience for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, if they actually done it less now, and then if they done another big one that was going to be in the Apex, if they done it right, then maybe it could bring some sort of excitement. But I think it's just, like we say, the cards have taken a bit of a slide, and the overall thing is kind of just taking a bit of a back step.
Criticism I had of it this past weekend, obviously with it being 100.
Yes.
Obviously pretty good card. I'm sure we'll come to it, but I just thought that like Dana could have done a bit more to make it more of a spectacle. The actual Apex itself.
Yeah.
So why didn't he put? Because obviously it's known to have a low audience count. You don't get many people there. Why didn't he absolutely pack the room?
That's a good point, to be fair. Yeah, they could have done something different.
Even if they packed it with people, so it would feel like a nightclub almost.
Yeah, that would be a good little vibe.
Add some more lighting, add some more signs, just do something different, make it a bit more of a production.
Make it a spectacle.
Yeah, because it just felt like 300 was, but like it just felt like it was just, even though it was 100 and they had the promos and all that kind of stuff, it didn't feel like it was special when it actually
and they
hit the
could have
ground
done
running.
that. They could have done that with relatively low cost as well. Like all they would just have to do is just buy some stands for like maybe for people to have risers.
Yeah,
I think that would have been quite good actually. If you would have had half of the venue just all standing, but standing in blocks,
would have been madness.
And then you could have the seating just kind of in and around the top.
Yeah,
I thought, that's a good idea.
Thanks, AJ. Appreciate that. I'll literally send a letter to Dana after this.
Yeah, I think he owes us.
Well, it's too late now. It's come and gone. But yeah, whatever.
But yeah, did you see any of it? Anybody?
What?
To be fair, it wasn't like
any of the fight or any of the UFC Vegases? Or you're talking about the main event?
100 in particular.
Oh no, I watched the Derrida fight and
okay, cool,
and obviously main event as well.
The two that most people were probably tuning in for, right?
Yeah.
So the main event was Neil Magny and Carlos Prates.
That's it.
That was what was headlining it.
That was the headliner. Neil Magny obviously at number 15. Prates been on a tear. He has 4 wins this year. So he's another person who's kind of in that. He's not at that thing where people are saying like, fight of the year with like Alex, because obviously the level was a lot lower. This was his first like ranked fight against Neil Magny. But in terms of breakout star, Carlos Prates has put himself out there as a name to be out there who's fun and kind of exciting. And these are the things that when, say, for example, if I'm thinking of maybe like a Sean O'Malley or a Kevin Holland or something like that, these are guys who a lot of people don't necessarily know, but they start building the excitement by having these fights first, and then when they start getting the names under their belt, as long as they can keep that momentum, they will become a big name. So that's how you build a star.
Especially in the space of a year as well. I mean, how many times did Kevin Holland fight during COVID?
He done the same thing. He done four.
Four,
and I think one of them he done a turnaround in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something like that.
Madness.
Yeah, and I think Hamza Hamza did the same thing. Hamza was the actually, I think he's the person who's actually got the shortest ever turnaround in something like 2 weeks.
Turnaround, so he had a fight and then 2 weeks later he had another fight.
He had it at 2 weight classes. So he had it at, the first one was against Gerald Mershaw. I think he'd done that at middleweight. He done that at middleweight.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then he done another fight at welterweight, if I'm correct.
Right.
Hamza at the time. I'd have to double check that. But I think he... That's what I mean. These are the things that I say. They're kind of all the makings of a star, and I think that Carlos Prates, also because he's a bit kind of eccentric. He fights with the guys, the fighting nerds. I'm not sure if you've seen them. The guys who put on these glasses afterwards, and they're like, that's kind of like their signature. It's like they're like black Ray-Bans with like tape in the middle, like nerds, like your glasses have been snapped, and they call themselves the fighting nerds.
The fighting nerds.
Fighting nerds.
Let me see these fighting nerds. You bringing it up?
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Fighting nerds, UFC.
What, is this a new thing?
They're all kind of like on the up and coming look.
There's loads of them. Let me see these guys.
So look, they wear like these glasses with the tape. You see the picture there?
That's what they actually fight.
Yeah, they're all in the UFC. That's Gene Silver. Is it Gene Silver?
Yeah.
And then there's Carlos Prates there. That's Baralho,
so
who's in the middleweight.
So you're saying they're going to start making stables in UFC now then?
So they all train together. Like they kind of always had like sort of stables. Like they had, you were talking before about who was the guy? I'm trying to think now. I'm having a bit of a brain fart.
We're talking about American Top Team.
American Top Team
and
versus Team Alpha Male. Like, so those were like two stables, weren't they?
Yeah.
Team Alpha Male, you had the other ones, you know, you got the Fighting Nerds, you have like the Black Zillions, that's another one.
Well,
like
I've never heard it.
American Top Team.
You'll start to, the more you watch, you'll start to realize.
Okay.
So now you're going to see.
So maybe we need to see a War Games match in the cage between all these stables.
Yeah, 5v5.
That'd be madness.
In the Octagon.
Imagine how they just let them out of the cage every 2 minutes.
That's a thing in Russia, I think, though. There's some Russian fighting leagues where they've done like 10v10s.
Mate, I'll tell you what, Dana White should pick up on that, man. That'd be insane. Have you recorded this?
No. They're just pictures, so I'll send them to you.
Yeah,
just pictures, so I'll send them to you.
That's hilarious.
You can have like a little montage in there. The Fighting Nerds.
Joe Rogan actually looks good with glasses on, man.
Yeah, that's all the guys there.
Brilliant.
You mentioned seeing stables in UFC. Well, American Top Team are a they're a training facility. They're a sort of, they have their own sort of club, you know, to train fighters.
Okay.
Their own gym.
Okay.
But they made an appearance on AEW television.
Did they?
Yeah. So they
I
had
remember
I've forgotten the guy's name.
Uriah Faber.
Yeah, I think Uriah Faber was there.
yeah.
Masvidal was there.
Well, so so when you say make appearance, well, they had a spot, or they were just in the crowd, or
I think they had. I think
they showed up and they like
then they showed up a bit,
someone,
and then
they?
there was
Oh.
But there was some AEW wrestlers who were like basically affiliating themselves with American Top Team as
Right.
well.
Masvidal gave someone the knee, didn't he?
I think I remember this
yeah,
now, actually.
yeah.
Yeah, this was a few years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember this. This was before the TKO
So
merger.
but that's a good little crossover though.
That would never happen again.
So this is the thing that I remember. I remember actually when you are trying to get you to watch like UFC at the time,
Yeah.
and I think you were sort of just dipping your toe in, and I was like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of people who showed up like on AEW, and you were like, what the hell are you talking about? Like Henry Cejudo was there, and I was like, Triple C.
Triple C. Yeah.
Insane.
Oh man,
Just
that's
shows you,
good.
man. Crossovers work in a way.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully we see that in WWE. Well, a bit more. Well,
They did. They had their time, didn't
yeah. Well, we saw Poatan
they?
turn up. We'll talk about that.
Velasquez turned up for his 1-2 week stint.
Yeah. So anyway, we had so just basically saying I'm just bigging up Carlos Prates at the moment, to be honest. Because obviously we're talking about the Fighting Nerds. There was a picture that was floating around. Jon Jones was there. They gave him the Fighting Nerd glasses. They got a picture with him. That's all that making its rounds on a couple of the pages. Neil Magny though, he was out cold. It was basically a one round. Kind of, it seemed to be going like 50-50 earlier in the rounds, and then it just sort of
Got wobbled.
I think Prates just basically just put on a lot of pressure. He was basically kind of doing that thing where he starts to stalk, basically like walking you down. But also in doing that, he was cutting off the cage, so Magny didn't really have much to do. He caught him with a couple good shots. I think he floored him with a left hand, I think, and then he went down, kind of forced to stand up in the last minute, and I think at that point Prates just had like a bit of like gusto kind of to him, because he's already seen that he's hurt him now at that point. And then he was just able to put in last 10 seconds, got him up against the cage, and he just basically just threw the right hand, went straight over the crown.
It was such a weird one, man. It didn't even look like he actually made full contact.
Yeah, no, he didn't at all. But this is the thing, a lot of people say to him that he's got really, really good power. So he did, like you say, he didn't catch him at all. It was pretty much just above the ear, and it sort of grazed over the top of his head. But
Because when they played the replay and they did it from the other angle,
yeah,
then you could probably see the graze, and you can actually see his head like wobble with the impact with it. So you can see obviously where his lights would go out at that point. But it was it's such a sharp hook, man. It was just out of the blue, out of nowhere.
So yeah, I guess
Powerful.
that block that throws him into the top 15 contendership now.
So I suppose with Neil Magny, obviously he's lost 3 of his past 5, I think, hasn't he? So this is now 4. So I think they'll knock him out of the rankings, wouldn't it? I mean, he's got some work to do now.
Yeah, I think he sort of slid his way down the rankings. He was sort of
he's had a rough ride.
He was an early one of the sort of mid to low 15 kind of gatekeepers, let's say. I think recently it's just like these new crop of fighters have just been coming through, and then just
Dana White's been feeding him to people.
Yeah, that's the problem. When
Feed Magny to this guy, I want him in the rankings. Good gatekeeper,
when the UFC kind of lets you get to that later part in your stage in your career, you kind of if you don't end up fighting up and actually getting those fights, breaking into the top 10, it turns out that most of the time you'll just be fed to other new guys.
You got to seize the moment, man.
Yeah.
Well, they have a purpose, and he still gets paid for it.
Do they have a purpose? I don't know. I think it works both ways sometimes. Like,
bro, they have a purpose, man. That's important. That's how you make stars. It's the same concept as WWE. You go over on someone that's going to help you become a bigger star. It's the same concept, apart from, you can't obviously fabricate this, but most of the time Dana will know what he wants out of a certain fight, won't he? He'll put Magny with Prates because he wants Prates to get over and get into the rankings.
But the problem is sometimes I think that sometimes people have looked at this as like an angle sometimes from UFC. Right. Me being critical of the UFC, but it's sometimes used almost, people view it as almost like a way to kick a fighter on their way out. So when you actually if you were to go to another promotion, you actually almost look worse. So one of the key examples was the Nate Diaz fight. Nate Diaz fight, when they tried to have him face off against Hamza, but then that was the one where it switched around.
Yeah,
because they had the late replacement. That was the one where they had the replacement the day before.
But rightfully so, though, man. If you're going out, you lay down for the other man.
You say that, right? But if Nate Diaz was to come back now, does he sell more pay-per-views than Hamza Chimaev?
Yes. He does.
But if he would have got pounded into the ground by Hamza, that would hurt his stardom.
Yeah, but he carries a name, or in my opinion, he carries a name already, so a loss won't hurt him. You can come back and pick up some wins and still sell tickets.
I don't know. You say that and you don't say that. Like at the same, like you say that and you.
I mean, are you still going to watch a Max Holloway fight, even though he just got knocked the F out?
No, but that's different. That's different in my opinion, because Max was fighting at the highest level.
Yeah.
I think that Nate, for example, he's not really a top 10. He hasn't been a top 10 guy for a long time. Yeah. Since probably when he fought Conor, to be honest. So why feed him to the new killer of the division? Yeah. Just put him up against just do a legend versus legend match, and then it doesn't really hurt. It doesn't hurt anybody to go out. Do you know what I mean?
So it's going to make the killer look more of a killer. It's going to be
so that's good on the UFC's part. But if I'm the person leaving the UFC, I'm going to be like, why the fuck would I do that?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's going to make me look like, put me in a worse light when I want to leave, or if I do decide that I want to come back, like, oh yeah, that's the guy who got smoked by.
I can see your logic.
Yeah. This guy.
I think it works both ways, doesn't it? It's a funny one. So roll of the dice. But hey, we're not the promoters, so we don't necessarily know what's best for business. We just want to see what we want to see. Yeah. We're the consumer.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just thinking about it both ways. It's good for the guy who's obviously trying to build a name, because you get to make your name off of an ex-legend.
Yeah.
But sometimes people don't look at it objectively. The fact that it's just like, yeah, you're making it off a legend, but a legend who's way past his time. So, a bit of a tangent anyway. But the other one I guess you talked about that a lot of people were tuning in for was the Derrida fight against Gerald Meerschaert. So Derrida's debut from one coming over. Is he going to make it in the West Coast big dogs? Because obviously one is who they are in Asia, but everybody always likes to see, would this guy from this promotion survive over here? It's kind of the same thing in wrestling. We always have that fantasy thing of like, who the top guy who's in WCW or AEW, or how would they fare in WWE?
So,
Well, the same thing kind of happened with Michael Chandler, didn't it? I mean, he came from He come from Bellator, and then obviously he's come in, he's made his MVP? Impact, or whatever. Yeah, MVP's come over as well. Yeah. But I'm talking about like Michael Chandler was wasn't he a double champ? Michael Chandler in
Yes. I think he was. He was at least a 1 division champion. I'm not sure if he went for the second. I think he was a 2 division champ in Bellator. But yeah, Ben Askren, that's another one.
Yeah.
Obviously, they traded Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse went over to 1 as well. So we've seen these things.
Rough trade, man.
Before.
My goodness.
Yes, it is.
Rough trade.
Yes, it is.
So that's a good thing. Is like to kind of segue, I guess. In terms of this fight, you said you did see it, right?
Which weight class was this? Sorry.
Middleweight,
yeah.
Middleweight.
And either of them ranked, or are they just
No. So Moshat is unranked. Derrida, he wouldn't have been ranked because it's his first fight in the promotion.
Okay, so just
so it was basically just to see how he is to get his name out there. To be honest, but how did you? I think everybody was thinking, how's he going to fare? Because if he was he was a kickboxing champ, to be fair, in 1. 2 division, but would his skills stack up in the UFC, like in the big leagues, pretty much? But I don't know. I think this was one that could have been. I think people thought it was going to be a lot more, and they thought he was going to come in here and he was going to assert his dominance. I think that he obviously got the win, he got the W, so spoiler for that. But it wasn't like that masterclass that people thought that was going to happen.
It was back and forth, wasn't it?
Yeah, so he got the first round, and even the first round he didn't look exceptional.
Yeah,
he got a late knockdown, and he had some like really good jabs. He went to the ground with Moshat. Moshat is known as kind of being a submission specialist, so
took him down a few times.
It was interesting to see the fact that he was willing to go into Moshat's waters in order to get it done. But the second round sort of swayed the other way, so to speak, from what I saw. I think on verdict it was sort of like split between each round, and then round 3 he ended up getting him with a triangle choke.
Choked him up, wrapped him up tight.
Yeah, man.
Tight.
He did end up getting the win and getting a submission on a submission specialist. But then when you compare it against, for example, Hamzat, when he fought Gerald Moshat, he threw 2 punches and knocked him out straight away.
Moshat was gassing at the end of that fight, though.
Yeah.
When he got him in the choke, he was done. Cardio-wise, he was gassed to... So by the time he actually put it in, I mean, his gas tank was already empty. That was just kind of nail in the coffin stuff there.
Yeah, I mean...
And that choke was tight. When he got him in that triangle choke, he wrapped that up nicely. I thought his ground game was good. I know it was back and forth, but, Moshat obviously... Ritter obviously got him down a few times in the first round. Some good takedowns, wasn't there? Highlights that I saw. I think
he got one takedown in the first round. Yeah. And I think got 2 in the second round.
Yeah. Which is big against a guy like Miocic, right? Because as you said, that's his specialty.
He's a submission. He's a submission specialist.
Yeah. Interesting, though. I thought he would have just gone to knock him out, though.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Yeah, you would think that maybe he'll just stand up and do a bit of like a kickboxing exchange, but maybe he wanted to show his skill set in that place.
Well, you say Moshat's a submission specialist, so to speak. Yeah, he submitted him. So
yeah, exactly. Beat him at his own game.
Exactly. Yeah. Impressive. I thought it was an impressive debut for him.
The thing that I thought that was quite interesting was after he won. I'm not sure if you saw this or if you saw the
post speech,
the scramble, the
post fight,
the media scrum,
scrum. Yeah, I couldn't get my words out. The media scrum after the fight.
I didn't
catch that. No.
Okay.
I never watched them after fight nights. I watched them after all the number pay-per-views, but I never watched the press conferences afterwards.
I normally watch the clips. I don't sit there and watch the whole thing, but I would normally catch the clips. But yeah, he went on there and he spoke about him coming from one championship and him leaving there, and it sounds like he didn't have the greatest time that was there. He ended up basically kind of shunning the company, basically saying they put him and his family in a shit position. And he said, anybody, if you are a fighter thinking about going to one championship, don't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I saw this today. I can't remember if you put it in the chat or not. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I saw this. Now.
So what was the quote? Read it for us.
There's something I feel I have to do for other fighters. If you're thinking of signing with one championship, don't. It's that simple. You should not. There's nothing there. There's no fights. You're just wrong if you do this. If you sign there, this is a bad mistake.
Oh dear, that's not good press for them at all.
Yeah, and I've actually seen quite a few things that have been happening with One Championship recently over the last couple of weeks. Like they had Mikey Musumeci, which is he's another grappling specialist. He was their champ over there, so exclusively grappling, just jiu-jitsu, no striking. And he was one of the biggest names over there because of his appeal. He's kind of just like he looks like a young kid. He's like he's not big, but his skill level is on a different level, and he's kind of got that almost like a nerdy kind of like Peter Parker-esque kind of thing about him. He wears these glasses.
So Spider-Man's over there.
Yeah, exactly. So he's got an appeal for him. I think he was like one of their stars, but he's had some problems recently with One Championship, and he recently, I think probably since our last recording, actually, he put something out on Instagram where he said that he was also going to leave One Champion. Well, he has left One Championship now.
Probably all comes down to money, though, doesn't it? Ultimately,
I think
it always comes down to money.
His problem was something to do with weight, from what I understand. They wanted to strip him.
Right.
They wanted to strip him at. I would hope not.
JD.
And the thing is, if you want to try and strip a guy like that, he'll snap your arm off.
Well, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I was just coming in passing. Let's not go that deep.
Oh my god.
No, but they were going to strip him of his title, and apparently it was to do with, I think, his opponent and making weight and things like that. There was also there was a One Championship card that also happened on Friday this weekend, and one of their other biggest stars, who is I can't even remember his name now. It's gone completely out of my head. Is it Super Lake?
I'm not sure.
I literally don't even have my
fact check for AJ,
guys.
please, J-Dog.
Sorry,
fact
guys.
check.
Super who?
No, just search One Championship.
Stripped title. Who was it?
You put championship.
Yeah, that's fine. It'll come up.
I literally was messaging one of my friends about this the other day.
Mikey Musumeci.
Yeah, Mikey Musumeci. That was who we talked about.
So, if you're trying to read that name, my god.
So it's Rod Tang. Sorry, it's Rod Tang. Rod Tang. Okay. He is their Muay Thai champ over there. He's a massive Muay Thai star as well. Right. I think if he came over to UFC, it would be fucking massive. That would be one of the biggest signings that I think that if they could get Rod Tang over in UFC, that would be big.
What's his style? What does he do?
He's Muay Thai. He's close, clinch, massive, throwing knees, elbows. And the thing is, everybody says he's got like an iron jaw. He basically stands with you in the pocket and he's throwing elbows.
Oh wow! Like
literally just smashing guys with elbows. Like his style is super, super intense.
Dangerous guy.
He had a mixed fight with Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse, when he was there as well, right. And that was a good fight. But yeah, he had an issue where he struggled to make weight, and they stripped him for the title. This weekend. They
stripped him because he struggled to make weight.
Yeah, so he didn't make weight. It happened one time in UFC, and that was against Charles Oliveira as well.
But to be fair, I mean,
he was half a pound off.
Half a pound, that's tough though. Stripping weight though, isn't it, man? When you're cutting, I mean. They should have that. I mean, do they have that rule in the UFC? So if you don't make weight, 3 times, like 3 strikes, and you're out? Surely.
No. So what will happen is if you're going to miss weight when you go for a fight, if your opponent basically gets presented. So if me and you were going to fight, they would say Adam hasn't made weight.
Yeah.
Are you still willing to fight him? And 9 times out of 10, because they want to keep the promotion happy, they say yes.
They'll do it. Well, and they want to earn.
Because they want to make their money. And then what will happen is Adam will lose 20% of his purse, and it will come to me.
Makes sense.
But you also have if you're going to make weight for a championship, you can still fight. You just won't be valid for the championship. So what ended up happening is his opponent made weight.
Right.
So if he would have won, he would have become the champion.
But
because Rod Tang hadn't made weight, they stripped him from the title, and that's the exact same thing that happened to Charles Oliveira.
Okay,
so he won the fight. I think it was against his fight against. So
what's your opinion of that?
Maybe,
do you think he should have been stripped?
It's hard to say. I don't know.
I know it's tough. I know dropping weight is tough.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you're you're getting rid of all the water from your body. Almost
horrendous, mate. You see some of the ways these guys prepare for the weigh-ins before the fights, man. It's insane. Like they're wrapped up in freaking bubble wrap towels
and stuff. Yeah,
saunas, sweating. I mean, they're dehydrated as hell. What was that thing you put on the other day? You know, when Dana White put the glass of water in front of Topuria at the press. This guy's dehydrated as when he just staring at the water.
That bottle of water.
Dana White, man.
It was just a cup. It was a cup of water. I think.
Terrible form. Well, I know it's tough.
Even worse, seeing the water.
But I do think there should be some kind of like free strike rules. If you don't make, weight 3 consecutive fights, or over the course of a certain time period, you should be penalised for it.
Yeah. I think Rodtang has missed a couple times as well. So that's another thing.
Because it's not fair on the opponent either. Like obviously they've gone through an entire training camp, drained themselves to hell, lost all the weight, and then if the other guy hasn't done it, it's like, come on, man.
True.
We had to put on a show.
How many fights this guy had?
Mate, these guys they started.
Jesus,
he's had over 100 on his record.
Wow. How old is he?
They start really young in Thailand though. They start at I think when they're like
so this is his professional
8 years old or something.
Professional Muay Thai and kickboxing record: 273 wins, 43 losses, 10 draws.
Wow.
And what does that carry over into one? Does it?
As long as it's registered as a pro fight, But they can start pro fights in Muay Thai when they're basically teenagers.
Yeah. So this isn't essentially a mixed martial arts professional record. This is just a kickboxing and Muay Thai.
It's a Muay Thai and kickboxing record, but it still carries over as a pro record. I think that if he would actually come to UFC, I think that would carry over.
What?
Big record. A lot in Thailand. UFC never go to Thailand, really, do they? Never head over there.
No.
Last win was against a guy called Jacob Smith, who was English.
Jacob Smith, yeah.
Poor
Jacob, man.
Poor Jacob from Birmingham.
That was the fight.
That was the fight.
That was the one. Jacob Smith. Yeah, he's the guy from. He's from over here. But yeah, they have some good fights over on one. You could definitely check it out. But I think that anyway, this is maybe a bit of a crossroad for Rodtang, because he could, if one FC don't play their cards right, if they. This is the reason why I bring it up, is because if all these people are leaving one, Derrida has obviously said, "Oh, don't go to one championship. There's no fights over there for you. There's basically nothing happening in the organization." They're going to also penalize one of their biggest guys who's over there. They've stripped him of his title. If he's going to be unhappy, I doubt that he's going to want to move from Thailand. But if he wanted to come over and fight in the UFC, the UFC should definitely snatch him up.
I think that sounds like a good shout. I want to see that record on UFC television, man.
Yeah, Dana won't do that. They will bring that record over to UFC television, surely.
Oh no, they could do. That would automatically make him a sell, because most people would just look at the record and think, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, but it wouldn't come up on his statistics though. Like if you go and search for him on UFC.com, that would come up. Yeah, 243 wins.
Yeah. They're registered as pro fighters.
That's mad. But then you bring up Alex Pereira's record, and he's got 15 wins.
No. Well, that's his MMA wins. Yeah,
it would just look a little bit off to me. But get him over anyway. Let's get him over, man. Sounds like a prospect for UFC, definitely. Dana White should take note. Rodtang. Try and pronounce his surname. His surname.
Those are his...
Try and pronounce his surname.
No, I'm not going to offend anybody.
Jim Wan Yong.
Jim Wan
Yong. We'll call him Rodtang anyway.
Rodtang.
Well, it's saying here that his official MMA fight record is 6-1-0.
That's what it'll be.
No, because he's done official MMA fights, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what he did is. I don't know. I won't segue too much, to be fair. But yeah, he's done some MMA fights. He done his one against DJ. I think it was actually a mixed rules match, they said there. So, it was 1 round MMA, 1 round Muay Thai. And then the third one was going to be something else. I can't remember.
Wow, okay. So that's a thing over at one as well.
Yeah, one's really fun with some of the stuff that they do.
Yeah, they mix up a little bit, but I still prefer UFC.
Lots of stipulations.
They should do a ladder match next.
I'll show you guys after the recording anyway. It's quite a short match, but it's a fun one. So yeah, that was the card this weekend. A few things that are around the card. We also saw somebody else who is going to be fighting this weekend, also in attendance and also promoting this week's card.
So Jake Paul or Mike Tyson were at Las Vegas. I suppose Tyson lives in Vegas, doesn't he?
Oh, we're talking about Tyson and Paul.
Sorry, no, that's I just looked from the corner of my eye. That's who you had up on your screen.
It's because there's a picture of them both. Yeah.
Oh, so you're talking about the big one?
I'm talking about the man that is Jon Jones.
Bones Jones.
He's coming, and he's coming hard.
All right, Brock.
Balls. I guess this is the final kind of
We have been talking about this fight
air around this card
for weeks. To be honest with you, I'm not even looking forward to the fight that much.
Yeah,
I'm not even looking forward to the fight. I'm just looking forward to the post-fight.
everyone wants to see what's going to happen afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is Jones just going to come out there, say his thing, drop the mic and say, I'm out of here? Or is he going to call out? But he's been saying all sorts this week, hasn't he? All sorts. There's all sorts coming out.
The things that are coming out of his mouth, right? Okay, so wait. These are the things that I am going to say are... One of the things that I put down in my notes today is Jon Jones destroying his own legacy by some of the things of what he's actually saying.
Right, be specific about the things that you're talking about. So say some of the things, but what specifically has he said?
Oh no, don't worry. I'm definitely going to show you. But what I'm saying is like the reason why I say that is because he is talking about his legacy and blah 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 and all this sort of stuff. I think that's cool. It's always good to think about what your legacy is, but at the same time, the fans and the people, the MMA community, are the people who dictate your legacy to a certain degree. Obviously, you dictate it by who you choose to fight and how you choose to fight, and how you also, even say, for example, if you take a loss, how you react from that loss. So I don't think it's necessarily about win or lose, but I was saying to myself, like, some of the things that he's saying right now, they aren't really painting him in the best light. So he was talking about it here. This is one clip.
You've written up a clip.
Yep, I've got a clip here. So this is Jon Jones talking about if he was going to win, possibly vacating the title fight because he would rather fight Alex Pereira rather than fighting Tom.
And just so we're going to write, this weekend, UFC 309 is Jon Jones against
Stipe
Miocic. Main event, World Heavyweight Championship. And this is his first fight back
Since winning
just
the title.
Just over a year, right?
2 years.
2 years? Has it been that long?
Time.
Yeah.
Right. Because obviously we've had the
Francis
interim.
Ngannou was basically, they kind of like, it was that thing on that Francis had just left.
Francis, I thought it'd only been just over a year. But maybe I'm wrong.
He's been out for almost a year. He had a torn pec for almost a year.
Jon Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So since he actually won the belt and got the submission, I think it's been just over a year, because then he got injured shortly after that in training, didn't he, when he was sparring?
Yeah.
No, look, I'll show you. Hold on. Let's have a quick look.
Sorry, I didn't want to come away from your clip. I
No.
wanted to make sure everybody was aware of what we were.
This is all good content. This is all good context.
What we were talking about.
Jon Jones.
Jon Jones.
His last fight, it was... Oh, wait. No, it's error loading. It says here. That's how long ago it is that he's fought. Even Google doesn't seem to know.
Jon Jones' last fight.
His last fight was against Cyril Gane in March 5th, 2023.
It was last year?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's about a year and a half. About a year and a half. Meet you halfway.
Wait, what did you say?
March, a year and 8 months.
23.
March 23,
okay. Yeah. So over a year and a half.
Yeah. I know I get that right because I've been keeping an eye on him.
And yeah, for that year, he's, well, I guess for those 8 months or however long it is that he's been injured and rehabbing his injury.
Because then they were due to have this fight in November last year, weren't they? This was going to be at 295, and then he pulled out of it because of his injury.
Yes.
So now it's come full circle. Here we are, back in November again.
So, yeah, but we go on to the clip here now, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the fact that Jon was the one saying that he, has Tom Aspinall done that much? What has he been doing? One of the things he was saying is the only guy who he's fought was I can't remember who it was who even said that who he fought. It was he said the only person who he fought was Andrei Arlovsky, who is now out of the UFC, who's also 40, who was 41 when Tom fought him. It just seems like Jon's brain almost kind of sounds like it's stuck in a bit of a time warp. So I think for him to say, oh, Andrei Arlovski is the only person who's fought, I think he's just thinking about name value when Tom has basically cleared out the division. So the other thing is he was saying is, maybe I don't fight Tom, I just fight Alex.
Yeah.
He's teasing.
Alex would be a big fight for him.
It'll be a big fight, but I think that now as well, I think he's realizing that Tom is actually a bigger fight than what he thinks, because whenever you go onto any Jon Jones post now, or anything that's related to him, especially if he posts it, the fans are all in his comments. All the top comments are people posting ducks and chickens and saying that he's ducking the fight against Tom Aspinall.
Yeah.
And he had a bit of like a tweet, like he went onto an online tirade about like, oh, you know, I'm the one controlling my legacy and all this sort of stuff. But it's crazy.
But that's the great thing about UFC and the combat sport, right? Because like you've already said, the audience tend to dictate actually the hype for a certain fight. Obviously they put things out there on the socials or all the different platforms they have available, but how much noise the audience actually makes is what determines what the fights are going to be.
Yeah, sure.
And Dana White has openly said on presses as well that Tom Aspinall deserves to fight next, right? You said that.
Yes, he did say that
many times. So hopefully Jones will listen.
Yeah.
Anyway, show us this clip.
Against White Sparrow, you'd be happy with it being a feature fight?
It'd be cool to fight over the heavyweight championship, but I would also willingly give up the heavyweight championship. I walked away from the light heavyweight championship, and I'd love to walk away from this one as well, on top, on his own terms, good head on his shoulder, making lots of money. I love the position that I'm in right now. Fighting Pereira for the Banff belt, that'd be cool. We both have 2 belts in 2 weight classes. The night we fought, we'd be both fighting for our 3rd belt, which would be the Banff. How cool would that be? You heard it here first. I haven't had this conversation with any other reporter.
And how long ago was that?
That was this weekend.
This weekend.
This weekend.
If he does that, I will never forgive him for that.
But this is the thing. I
mean, I'm a fan of Jon Jones, but if he goes down that road, that is it for me.
This is what I mean. I think is he actually fucking himself out of his own, you know, shitting on his own legacy by talking about doing stuff like this. If you're talking about the fact that you're going to win this fight, but you're willing to vacate the world heavyweight, the heavyweight championship, meanwhile Tom has had to fight and defend an interim, but they didn't. They also said that they didn't want to have him versus Stipe as a non-title fight, even though they're 2 big names. That fight's big enough that's part of the reason why a lot of people didn't want to see this fight, is because if you're just doing it for legacy, the belt doesn't really matter. Jon Jones is who he is. Stipe is known as heralded as one of the greatest heavyweight champions like that there's ever been. So just do it without a belt, vacate it, and let Tom be the honourable, rightful heavyweight champion.
I mean,
it's a tough one though, isn't it?
It's almost if he's acting like he's bigger than the UFC.
But do you think that also that like the time that's passed also plays a factor in it, right? Because obviously this fight was scheduled for November 2023. So, and I think at that point, if this fight happened then, obviously Tom Aspinall has developed throughout that year. Obviously we saw him at 304 absolutely destroy someone in 17 seconds. His stock went through the roof, even more than it already was. So if they put this fight on last year in November, it would still be a big fight for Jones and Stipe and something that people will want to see. But perhaps now that that year is gone, Tom Aspinall's developed, maybe it's kind of come and gone. Maybe the train's gone by a little bit on it. Maybe that's why people are having an attitude towards it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's one of the reasons why, exactly what you said. The era of this fight is, you know, everybody wants to see this fight, but they want to see this fight because they want to hear about what's going to be said after whatever happens. You know, all fair play to Stipe as well. Stipe is saying, you know, everybody's counting me out on this. So even if there's a complete swerve and for some way that it happens, the cookie crumbles, and Stipe turns out to be the winner.
Can you see that happening?
That creates another. I don't see it happening, no.
No? You think Jon Jones is going to run through him?
I don't think he's going to necessarily run through him. I think he's probably going to be quite dominant, to be fair.
Well, I know what Dana will do if Stipe starts winning. I think we saw this. I think we saw this a bit earlier.
Did I put this in there, or did you put it in there?
I put it in here. It's in media.
Let's have a look. Which one is it?
It's a bit further up. I'm pretty sure it was up here.
No, it must be in the links rather than in media. But this one is this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this. This is quite funny, actually. This
You
is
bring it
a
out.
meme that was going around online.
So this is if Stipe starts winning.
Yeah. Stipe's about to finish Jon Jones.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what's Dana White going to do? Jon Jones will finish.
I saw another one as well.
It should
where
have
it's-
been final boss.
No. Have you seen? There's another one that was going around where it was like, oh my gosh, he's about to knock out Jones, and then it's the clip of Brock Lesnar coming down with the forklift, and he lifts up the whole ring, and Reigns goes rolling out the ring.
Lifts the gauge up.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a sight to
Oh
see.
mate, that's brilliant.
But imagine if that did happen though. Imagine if Stipe beats Jones.
Yeah,
I remember when Stipe knocked out Cormier and started doing the old jig on him.
yeah, he was doing the
Well, I've been watching some of the. I watched the
Footwork.
countdown. I watched the countdown video yesterday for 309. Like Stipe looks like he's in pretty good shape, man. Training hard.
I think that John's just a different level. He's so multifaceted in a way that he can wrestle.
Yeah.
He's got good striking. I don't think he has that crazy knockout kind of power that he used to have when he was younger. He's not really known for these big wild knockouts. He'll get a good TKO out of you, yeah, sure, but it's not about like punches chances.
One of the only guys in UFC to beat Francis Ngannou as well.
Yeah. Don't talk to AJ about that. He'll get very upset.
No. But Francis came back, beat him in the second fight. So
Yeah.
They're 1-1.
yeah.
We might see that in the PFO one time.
I'll just say Stipe's don't sleep on Stipe. Though, man. He's had some incredible fights.
Stipe's chin got absolutely cracked in half in that last fight. That's what we need to remember. We need to remember that Stipe has not only coming off of a loss, however, like 3 years ago, but he's also coming off of a loss where his chin got absolutely smashed.
I remember seeing the photos of that, man. That was disgusting.
Yeah,
he took a batter.
it's the way his leg folded back as well.
But let's not forget what he has done as the heavyweight champion in his previous time. I mean, the guy is, he's defended the belt how many times? 4 times?
He's got 4 times. That's the most in heavyweight history.
Yeah, so that's a lot.
Heavyweight normally changes because obviously you have the punches,
The big
chance
hitters,
in heavyweight. So
he's done a lot. But he is, was he 42?
42.
He's old, man. He's getting on. This could probably be his last one. Maybe.
Yeah.
This will probably, but maybe this could be both their last ones. Maybe they both drop the mic.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. Everyone was saying
What a
that
legacy, man.
They could end
Well
up
done, Jon
getting a
Jones.
double retirement.
Yeah.
So
But it's nice to see Jon Jones back in the cage. It'll be nice to see him, regardless of what happens afterwards. It's just good to see. Jon Jones is an attraction, isn't he? Really, for UFC, he's one of the only fighters that, if I speak to a neutral who doesn't really watch it, everybody knows who Jon Jones is.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
He's the poster boy, really, isn't he?
For sure.
And he has been for a while.
Yeah, I just think that it was an interesting take from Jon to say that he's willing to relinquish the heavyweight title.
Shame.
I think that part of this as well, he might be trolling because he knows that it's going to get looks as well. People have said about Jon's negotiating tactics over the years. The same thing about when he tried to negotiate the fight with Francis Ngannou. He was saying, I'm just going to retire. Like, I don't really give. I don't care. I don't need the money. He was giving it all that sort of chat. So it might just be a thing where he's just doing like the heel kind of move where he's just like, I'm just going to act like I don't really care. UFC can, as long as they're going to run up the check, then it doesn't really matter to me.
But you know what? I would still pay a lot of money to watch Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
For sure.
So if you had a choice, so you could choose, you could book this next. If Jones obviously beats Stipe, you could decide on one more fight for Jones. It could be Jones and Aspinall or Jones and Pereira. What one would you choose right now?
What one would I choose
for the belt?
If it was Jon's last fight?
So for the belts.
So if
it's for the belt, he fights Tom. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, he needs to fucking fight Tom. He needs to defend that fucking belt. If he wants to cement the legacy, he needs to.
I think as well,
at least defend a belt.
He's actually it's actually creating a lot of steam because he was saying this stuff about Tom's not a big name. Like a lot of people know him in England and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But like on the world market, is he really a big name? And I kind of agree with him there, but
Sorry, pardon my French.
The thing is now, because Jon is doing this, he's ended up creating more buzz for it because now people are like, Pereira's not saying anything about him. He's saying, oh yeah, I might fight Alex Pereira. Has Pereira said anything?
No, he's nothing. Mute. He's a mute on that.
He's been at SmackDown. He's been going here. He's been going there, doing whatever he wants to do. Showing up in the middle of New York, like collaborating with all these content creators. said nothing about Jon Jones.
Pereira's not known for saying much, though, is he? I guess he's always kind of just watched and seen what's happened, and then just steps in and handles business.
He's not. I will agree with, but at the same time, if Pereira gets a little bit of it, he can give it back because he done the same thing with Israel Adesanya.
Yes.
Yeah.
He can have a little bit of online back and forth with whoever he wants to, but Jon has kind of almost done the opposite thing, in where he's like now tried to brush Tom off, and because of that, he's actually created more anticipation for the fight against him and Tom.
Yeah, and more controversy.
And Tom has been getting a little bit froggy as well. he's been like talking online. He's been getting a little bit like snappy on the interviews and putting little tweets out there.
He needs to make noise. He needs to make noise, Tom.
He's got this reel I was floating around. I threw it on the story earlier. Did you see it?
I saw it. I watched it. Yeah, I did.
This was another clip as well, because this was the one that was also doing rounds online.
Yeah.
Where Jones was talking. So this is from the same weekend.
Masvidal is I don't want to say nobody, but he just hasn't proven anything. He hasn't done anything.
Bold.
Yeah. Average fight time 2 minutes 2 seconds.
How can he possibly say he hasn't done anything?
Most UFC finishes since 2020.
Yeah. Curtis.
Yep. Like, this is what I'm saying. This is somebody who's a multi-skilled guy. He can bang. He can.
Look at those names.
The names that are on there, Volkov, Sergey Pavlovich, Curtis Blades, Spivak, Tybura.
Yeah.
The only people who he hasn't beaten or who are on this list, we're talking Jayton Almeida, and we're talking Jayton Almeida and Rosenstruik, outside of Stipe and Jon.
He's a dangerous fighter, man. He's a dangerous fighter, not the kind of fighter that I suppose Jones has come up against before, right? So maybe he's also a little bit hesitant. I think there's a lot of things that we're going through Jon Jones' mind right now. Maybe he has legit got one more fight left. And obviously he can leave the light heavyweight belt retired, happy, leave the heavyweight belt retired, happy, finish on top, and then have one more bow out fight against another champion of another division, hopefully win that, and then that, what a legacy for him. Or does he think, actually, I'll defend the heavyweight one more time, ain't going to mean much to my legacy, but I'll just finish Tom and then have it.
Yeah.
There's loads of decisions. I suppose that the next fight that he has, the next decision he makes is going to be probably one of the biggest decisions of his career.
I think it comes down to, it decides what Alex wants to do.
Yeah.
In the circumstance, because Alex actually basically said in his last fight, he was originally going to go back to middleweight and do his fight, but obviously, there's the thing happening with Sean Strickland. He said he's not going to involve himself. He's going to stay at light heavyweight, because he also said that heavyweight is torn right now. So maybe he's not actually interested in going back and doing that fight. I think that if he was going to insert himself, that would obviously cause a bit of a mix going on. But if he was going to insert himself, if I was Tom, then I would just say, all right, Jones, you don't want to fight me. I'm going to go and fight Pereira first, and I'm going to smash him. Because if I smash him now, then who have you got left to fight?
Yeah. It's logic. It's logical. Very logical.
It's a different way to fight. And Tom's always this person. He's very game. He's the one who his last fight he stepped in. No, not his last fight. His fight before, when he ended up stepping in for the interim, it was on a short notice fight. Like he's always down. He's the backup fighter for this fight. So I think for him to turn around, I think he'll take Alex Pereira very, very seriously.
Yeah.
So he'll want the prep time. But if Pereira says, okay, yeah, I'm willing to fight Tom, that's Tom's best option. Cut Jones's legs out from underneath him, and then Jon has no other options. But if he decides that he's gonna give up the heavyweight belt, this is Jones, and decide to fight Pereira, then he has all the chips in his court if he wins that, because he could basically say, that's it, I'm not fighting Tom. But it will leave a stain on his legacy, but he could do it.
But what does Dana White want? I suppose that's going to be the ultimate. Dana and Hunter will make the ultimate decision as to what Jones is going to do next, right?
Well, the thing is,
they're going to book it.
If Jones does the fight with Pereira, that will be a big fight. But do you know what that will do? That will make the fight with him and Tom even bigger. Because now you'll be like, okay, well, you beat Pereira, the guy who's not even in your weight class anymore. Yeah, you were the king at light heavyweight, but you're a heavyweight guy now fighting against a guy who's never fought a heavyweight, and you beat him. Yeah, good job.
I think
you've got to fight the actual heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
If I was Dana, I suppose going back to what I said right at the very beginning, people that don't really know UFC know of Jon Jones, right? They know who he is. And Alex Pereira is also getting to that point. People that don't know UFC know Alex Pereira. How many people that don't know UFC know Tom Aspinall at the moment? Everybody in our country does, because he's our Manchester boy, right? Around the world, yes, we know he's number one in the division. He was the interim heavyweight champion. He's been on some big cards. Perhaps he's not as much of a drawer as an Alex Pereira is or a Jon Jones is. So from Dana's point of view, for business, for the promotion, for UFC, Jones versus Pereira is actually probably the biggest fight he could book right now for business.
Name value wise.
Yes.
But the thing is, also sometimes those fights that are actually going to be a, real heavy like social media shared stuff, sometimes it doesn't have to be the one with the name. It could be like, for example, a lot of people didn't know who Ilia Topuria was, but they knew who Max was.
I completely agree with you there.
But that fight sort of just carried it. It sort of had its own legs because of the level of the fight, but also because there was one name and there was also these two belts kind of coming together.
Yeah, but remember, you're also you know what you're looking at with your fights, whereas the casual will perhaps want to watch UFC for a fight. Like I guarantee you, our pals that were around here the other day with me and Jade were watching the fights.
They knew Max.
They knew Max, but they
didn't know Topuria.
Didn't know Topuria, but they didn't come here for the UFC. But I reckon if Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira was main eventing a card, they would come together for that. They would make that an event, if that makes sense. Would they necessarily do that for Jones against Aspinall? Probably, because Aspinall's English, but in other countries, in other parts of the world, maybe not. But for us as UFC fans, we want Jones and Aspinall.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well,
I agree with that.
Tom's the interim heavyweight champion and he's number one contender. Like, he's he is the next logical fight in that division for Jon.
Yeah.
Or Stipe, whoever wins. So there we go. I mean, but again, it's just ultimately what Jon wants to do as well. I mean, and then what numbers talk what numbers as well.
Yeah.
What if will Jon and Pereira make a bigger gate than? It depends where it is as well, I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot of different factors. If Jon's never going to go fight outside of the US, to be honest.
No,
I doubt that he'll ever fight outside the US. But if you could end up having Tom Aspinall fighting at home here, if they done that at Wembley, him versus Jones on Tom's home court, that'd be massive.
Well, I think if Jones does go the Aspinall route, I think Aspinall should have a fight at London Fight Night coming up. I think he should headline that card.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good shout.
On a big stage, because then that will give him some stock. He should fight somebody. Jones will obviously have some time to recover from this fight that he's just had and train. And then maybe they then do Jones and Aspinall at the latter half of next year.
Yeah, maybe we see Aspinall and Pereira.
Yeah, because the thing is,
in London,
they have
not on a fight night.
Not on a fight night.
Nah.
But they've done this in UFC in the past before, where they've upped a fight night and made it a card. That's what they did with the Leon and Usman number 3 fight, didn't they?
Yes,
that was actually over here.
Yes, it was,
and they made it a numbered card instead. So they could do the same thing, because Tom deserves to be on a numbered card, because even though he is interim champ, everyone sees him as the rightful heavyweight champ
at the moment. Yeah.
So I think you've got a good point there. Like if Tom is the backup fighter for this fight, he doesn't end up fighting, but he says I could be ready in March, and he can do something to help build his claim even more. I don't know what else his other options are, because it winds me up a little bit, because Cyril Gane has had a lot of the opportunities given to him. They thought that he was going to be the guy to dethrone Ngannou when he was here. Ngannou ended up beating him, so he's on a loss. But then his next fight, he still fights for a vacant title against Jones. So it's just like, but Tom called out Gane before he even had the interim, and Gane turned him down because he was doing the movie that went on Netflix. Did you see it?
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, so he was shooting that movie. So Gane was just like, no, I don't really fancy fighting Tom. But then Tom has then built himself up in that time period. Now got himself an interim fight, and people are saying, well, they could have fought for an interim, but Gaanes decided to shoot it down. So now he's in a bit of a shitty position because he's number 2. Nobody's even talking about him in this scenario. But I think the only other thing that, other than fighting Pereira and chopping out John's options from underneath him, beating him to the punch and fighting Pereira first and saying, oh yeah, I've beaten your guy, so now you have to fight me. His only other option is fight Gaanes, because they'll probably get rid of the interim title after John fights. I think the interim title is done.
It would make sense, though.
I think what's going to happen is he should fight Gaanes, and if he can finish him in the first round the same way that John did,
you've
then got
that sets the stage.
We both beat the same guy in the first round.
Yeah, sets the stage. So maybe they do that at Fight Night London. Maybe they do Gaanes against Aspinall.
Could do, That'd be big.
That would sell out.
That'd be big because Gaanes was also he was a big star. Obviously, Paris obviously it's not that far as well, so you could have people traveling over from France.
Yes,
but Gaanes was obviously sold to be this guy who was going to be. Oh no, he moves like a middleweight, but he's a heavyweight. So a lot of people would. Seeing him there, and I think, I'm not gonna lie, Tom will demolish him.
Yeah,
Tom's got the ground game. He's got the wrestling. He's got the subs. He was in that there doing this. I was there at the one in London where he got Volkov in the straight arm bar. Like,
he's a beast. He's a different animal, man.
Yeah, exactly. He can knock you out.
So ultimately, Jon Jones against Aspinall needs to happen. We need that to happen.
Oh yeah, we've been saying that it's going to happen.
Come on,
but I guess we're just talking about how it's going to happen.
Yeah. So many
Friday night, Stipe pulls out. Oh my goodness!
Lord. Aspinall steps up.
Oh my goodness!
My God!
Even if, like, say for example, if Jones ended up pulling out and he decides that he's going to come out and beat
Stipe. Oh my goodness!
Even that's a bit of one. So as far as news, obviously we've talked about UFC London. 22nd of March.
Yes.
We always say it's a March card. If Tom Aspinall's not there, just randomly.
Yep.
Do you want to? Who do you reckon should be a headliner?
Paddy.
Yeah,
Paddy versus Moicano.
Well, Paddy Pimblett's obviously the up and comer, isn't he?
That'll be the co-main.
He will be on the card. Paddy Pimblett will be on the card, man. It's in Paddy the UK. Pimblett, He's the poster boy at the moment for us, apart from Aspinall.
So we got
MVP.
Yeah, we got Molly McCann as well.
MVP. Yeah,
MVP, and
McCann.
MVP, and what's that dude?
Steve.
Ian Gary. We could even have an Ian Gary.
Ian Gary, yeah.
Over here. Leon
Edwards.
Leon versus Ian Gary. That's what we were saying before, weren't we?
Yeah. To be fair, this would be a good time for him to come back, Leon, because he needs a bit of a springboard to come back, doesn't he, after he lost in 304.
Murphy as well. We saw him fight Lerone Murphy.
Oh, Lerone Murphy. Yes, we saw him a couple of weeks ago.
He got a win over Dan Ige.
Yes, he did.
Could see MVP in Shara.
You preached on this show about Lerone Murphy wanted to be on the card in London when it comes back.
Yeah.
You said he must be on the card. You were rocking your UFC London t-shirt when you were doing it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Probably talk to a death.
We're going, aren't we?
I would like to go. But yeah, we talked about it. That's sandwiched around the other TKO week.
I don't care. We're going.
Oh, fucking hell.
Well, we got a SmackDown the week before.
We're going. We're going to spend a couple of weekends at the O2, man.
We're going to spend a couple of
the whole week down
basically.
There?
Screw it.
Should we just do like a weekend to weekend holiday in London, even though we live like 30 miles away?
Mate, UFC is in London. We are going to it. It's like 50 minutes on the train from our house. We can't have it down the street and not go.
They need to send us some press passes, man.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Cage and Canvas will fund it. It's going to happen.
Final talking point, I guess. Shorts.
Yeah,
what did you make of them? I shared them in the group when they first came out.
I saw them.
Yeah,
they're cool, man. They're cool.
We got the Chandler ones as well. Obviously, it's the blacked out American flag. America, baby.
America. I like it, man.
We got the
Charles, look at Oliveira's one. Wow.
Yeah,
that's a multi.
It's very wild.
That is wild.
And then you got Stipe's one where he's rocking the
Czech flag.
The Czech flag.
Ah, yeah. I didn't see Stipe's.
No.
I like Jones is the best though, man.
Yeah,
looks fierce.
It's cool.
It does also look like the Sparky, like an electrician.
Yeah,
like a bit like
bolt.
Yeah, the lightning bolt.
He's got the cross on there, and then he's got the Bible quote that he's got on his chest on the other side as well.
What is the quote?
I literally looked it up the other day. I'm
anything in relation to retiring. Anything that makes like any subliminal messages that he's trying to put out there that this is his last one.
No, it's something about strength, I think.
Good. Keep going, Jones.
There it is.
What is it? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Okay, yeah, he's going to carry on, man. He's going to carry on.
It's not going to give him the strength to beat Tom.
It's one
Come on,
thing
Tom. We're backing you.
you cannot do. Yeah,
We're backing you, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shouts to Tom who saw our video as well.
Oh yeah, we reposted this video. He was actually in the views.
You watched it.
We had that of LA Night last week as well.
I should have put that in something in the video, but I just shared it. Get some attention.
Thanks, Tom.
From Tom.
So good.
But it's just amazing though how this main event coming up at this weekend at 309, the talking points around it aren't necessarily the fight itself. It's more about what's going to happen afterwards. That's what everyone's really hyped about.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about anyone that's actually below them in the main
Yeah,
card.
we've been going on about that.
That just sucks in that. I mean, that card has been carried by, obviously, apart from the Oliveira fight, the co-mains Oliveira and Chandler.
Yeah, Chandler and
I
Charlie
like
Olives.
Michael Chandler, man.
Yeah,
but I also
you know.
think Charles Oliveira is a Donny, man.
Oh,
he is a top Don.
He's a Don, yeah.
Done his bits.
Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig is also a decent one.
Yeah, sorry, Paul Craig.
You like Paul Craig?
Paul Craig.
Paul Craig.
He's gone. Oh, I'm sorry. He was a few years ago. He was quite active, kicking about. He looks fierce when he's in there, and he got some good wins, good submission wins and stuff.
He was the one who dislocated Jamal Hill's arm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember watching
sent
that.
you that
Highlights.
clip.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was insane. Mate. Yeah.
But Bo Nickel as well. I think that this will be his way to also kind
I
of
mean,
jump in there, get himself a good name.
Look at the odds on that.
Oh,
But that's almost like
It's a bit disrespectful.
playing UFC 5 on like the easiest mode.
So Bo Nickel
It's a bit disrespectful.
minus 1,000.
But Paul Craig, his striking isn't like
You're going to put some money on that, Jacob?
There's easy money. If you bet £10 on Bo Nickel, you'll get £10 and a penny back.
Why don't we just put tens of millions on it and just see what happens? Oh,
Yeah,
imagine
let's cough it
that.
up, man.
Somebody would actually do that. Yeah, and then they'll pay for our tickets to UFC London.
And WrestleMania next year.
Yeah, we'll double up.
Bo Nickel 6-0.
Yeah.
So he's been kicking about online as well. He's also been saying that he wants Hamzat
It's a good card for him to be on.
as well.
I think
he's been calling out everyone.
He's had a big name. He's had a lot of eyes on him for a while, but I think he's just they want to build him slowly because I think they've had that experience where they've fed a couple people to the machine, thinking that this guy's going to be a star, and then the problem is they throw him up there too fast. He fights a ranked guy, and then he's going to get absolutely destroyed. So I think Paul Craig is probably a good test for him, even though the odds are kind of in that way. But how I see him right now, Paul Craig, he's another one. He's a submission master, like with the locks and stuff. So I think that Bo Nickel, he's got a very wrestling heavy style, so that one could be quite interesting. But Bo Nickel definitely does have the striking advantage over Paul Craig. So
In the middleweight division.
yes, yeah,
Unranked, but yeah.
and then I don't really know too much about the guys who are opening the card, but Viviane Araújo and Corinne the Killer Silva. That one, it should be a good fight as well.
Good to see some women on them flyweight.
Yeah, I think I got Viviane she's an interesting fighter to watch, but it seems like she doesn't kind of have that kind of killer instinct the way that Corinne Silva has. So I'm probably seeing that it's probably going to be a finish from Corinne Silva, to be honest. Viviane just kind of seems to coast her way through to decision. She's a decent enough fighter, but I think that we're going to see Corinne kind of throw herself up in the rankings, to be honest.
Nice.
But, yeah.
11th v 9th.
Yeah, so she'll be breaking herself into the top 10.
Yeah.
Top 10. But yeah, two Brazilians as well going against each other. That normally kind of splits. The Brazilians don't actually like that. They don't kind of like fighting their own people, like kind of splitting the fan base.
Hopefully they do go for it though. I don't want them to be soft on each other just because they're Brazilian.
Nah. I reckon Corinne Silva's going to get. She's going to get a win. She's going to get a W.
Nice.
We've got some good prelims and early prelims names on there as well. We've got Chris Weidman on the prelims.
Marcus McGee.
Jim Miller.
Martinez.
Jim Miller.
Come on, Jim.
The only guy who's been at UFC 100, 200 and 300. It's crazy stuff, isn't
Brilliant
it?
stats there,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great stuff. Yeah.
Superb. Well done.
Lucas Almeida as well.
Remember Almeida.
Mickey Gall, who famously defeated CM Punk.
CM Punk, yeah.
Well, I
was
wouldn't
that,
exactly say that made
his
him-
first fight?
I wouldn't say that made him famous.
Second fight.
Well, it didn't make him famous, no, but he got a win over.
CM Punk.
Oh yeah, we've also
Okay.
got Veronica Hardy. That's Dan Hardy's wife. She's going in there. Just I thought I'd run it in there. I don't know if you've seen Veronica fight before.
I haven't. This will be a first. I'll try and catch.
Well, that'll be on Fight Pass, so that will be that would just be streaming off the website, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few other names that are kind of kicking about, but we've talked about the main card mostly. I think we're just kind of just seeing where those, especially that main and co-main, are going to go.
Yeah.
Oliveira's being very wishful in the thinking that where he wants to go after his win.
I want to see Chandler win, man. I want him to get a good win behind his belt.
He was going for Conor, wasn't he? And then obviously Conor's done the dirty, so it'd be interesting to see where he goes if he gets the win after Oliveira.
Yeah, He's been talking about the fact that he's kind of sat on the sidelines for a year and a half, almost 2 years, waiting for that fight. But I think that he now has kind of seen what he can do. I think he's going to try and get this win against Oliveira, so he'll get another title shot. And I think he said from his title shot, he would then like to then do a BMF fight against Max.
Yeah,
nice.
So that's where he sees where he's going to go.
I'm looking forward to Dan Cormier commentating on the main event for Stipe and Jon Jones.
I want to hear some. No,
both his rivals.
Didn't he commentate on the on his last fight?
Yeah, he did.
He always does, yeah.
But Stipe and Jones, obviously he's both had history with him.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way, to be fair.
It's going to be weird seeing him commentate on that. I'm sure he'll be neutral. He's all the professional now, isn't he, Dan Cormier?
I feel bad for DC as well, because the way it ended up with him and Jones, the last fight, obviously Jones got popped for the roids, and he beat Cormier, beat him pretty badly, to be fair. And the Stipe one was even worse. That was hard to watch because he flipping gouged his eye out. He poked him in the eye, and he completely almost lost sight in that eye.
Insane. Yeah, looking forward to a good card, man. Looking forward to that. We're going to do a live watch.
What, is in a recorded one?
Oh, you want to do live? What?
Oh, no, you're talking about this card?
I'm talking about this card. Are we going to get up and watch it? I'm going to have to get up and watch it.
What, are we coming in and watching it?
I don't know.
We're doing a live react.
I can't confirm nor deny. Perhaps we'll organise an agenda after the camera's off.
Yes.
After the camera's off?
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll talk about it afterwards.
You don't want to confirm on camera?
Well, no, because I don't want to confirm, and you just said, no, I can't do it. And
we've got video evidence.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't use my words against me.
Yeah, that's it. I like
footage.
it all filmed, so we've got it.
Use it as a short.
Yeah, good, man.
We talked at UFC for it at length, but I guess it was
because it's fight week.
Yep.
So big names. It's always nice to see people beat the shit out of each other, man.
Well, it was good fun.
It's a guilty pleasure of mine.
Are you going to watch just before we transition? You're going to watch the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight?
I think I will. Yeah.
No, it's at the same time. No,
no,
it's at the same time.
Well, no, is it?
If I'm prioritising one, I'm prioritising Jones.
I'm pretty sure
it's 4 a.m.
Yeah,
it's Saturday morning though. It's Saturday morning. It's not Sunday morning. So UFC will be on Saturday night. No, and then Netflix is Friday. No,
I'm not convinced on this.
I'll bring up Netflix. You guys carry on.
I'm pretty sure Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are on the Friday.
Okay, bring it up.
But it'll come up on Friday on American time.
Bring it up.
But it'll be Saturday morning early for us.
Why don't you just Google it?
So there's SmackDown. There's SmackDown on Friday, and then a couple of hours later, it's the main card or walkouts for Paul and Tyson.
So here we go. Friday the 15th of November, 2024, at AT&T Stadium, which we went to for
UFC.
WrestleMania, man.
WrestleMania 38.
Yeah. Unbelievable stadium, man. That was still to this day the biggest stadium I've ever stepped foot in. Do you remember walking out and just the aura?
It came up on my thing the other day.
Yeah, but
110 it can hold up to
110,000, mate. You walk in, you go out there, it's like what? It's nothing you'll ever see. Like
it took us 15 minutes to walk to the other side.
Fucking hell. That was insane, mate. It made Wembley look like nothing, absolutely nothing.
I've yet to go to America to watch wrestling, and I really want to do it.
You'll get there.
I just want to see how big everything is in America compared to over here.
Wow,
I feel like the comparison between America and the UK, just in general,
they tried.
Feels like everything's kind of.
They try their best.
Bit too on top here.
But that's because we're a smaller country.
Yeah.
Do you remember the situation with the cheesesteak?
Remind me.
So basically, our other friend who we won't mention here, but we walked in. The moment we walked in, we were like, we need to get some food. This is on day 2 actually.
Night 2.
It's on day 2.
38.
So we walk in and we're like, we need to get some food. So we walk straight over to one of the places inside AT&T, right? And we see these cheesesteaks, and it's based, no word of a lie, it's a little bit longer than this tablet.
Okay.
And then he goes, I'm gonna have one of those. I'm gonna have one of those. And we're like, that's a massive sandwich, man. And then he goes, nah, I'm starving. I want one. So he goes up to the counter. And he goes, I want one of those. That large one over there. And they're like, yeah, cool, no worries. And then they bring over a large one. It's literally like this long. So the one that he saw was just a regular. No. The moment when he saw them bring out the sandwich and it was like twice the size, his face completely dropped.
That was insane. That was insane. He got through it though.
I think he had to give some of it away because I remember having some of it.
I think half of it went around his mouth and down his front, but never mind. But he made it. He got there.
It was just hilarious.
In answer to your question, J-Dog, Americans do things bigger.
That was just an example of.
Don't even think about it. I know what you're thinking, mate. Keep that to yourself, you filthy man.
I'm not saying a word.
Man. Put your hands where I can see him, please.
Yes, but that was an experience and a half. But yeah, WWE. I mean, we won't go into too much mad detail this week because obviously UFC is really the main driver for this week. Obviously, being fight week, but little bits of news knocking about.
Story advancements. There
have been some developments.
There's been lots. Did you guys see Jamal Hill and Pereira at the shows this week?
Yeah, Jamal Hill was at Raw.
Jamal Hill didn't get the response that I think that he wanted to.
No, he didn't.
The audience sounded flat. They were like, "Who is this?" No
Alex Pereira got a massive pop when he stood up on SmackDown.
Because he's a fucking Donny.
Yeah, he is a Donny. And then Jamal Hill, poor bloke, stood up, just, give it the wave, but yeah, not much back. Really,
exactly.
I felt a bit sorry for him.
Yeah.
Always nice to see the crossover, though. You back and forth.
I love when Pereira just stands up. He just doesn't even smile. He's just like...
Yeah, but that's Pereira. That is Pereira, isn't it? Just stone cold, literally stone cold. But yeah, and I said, then we saw the backstage segment with Reigns and Pereira. Well, that wasn't a similar show, but on the socials.
The socials, yeah.
Handed over the merch.
That was a nice touch.
Yeah,
Two
they had a
big
shirt
names.
swap.
That's it. 2 big faces, big poster boys for their companies. So that was good. But yeah, I suppose just a little bit of backstage news. Not too much to go into. You see that Triple H has been news that kind of since he stepped in, he's eased up the schedule for these guys now. So I think they're doing double tapings coming up for the next few weeks of SmackDown and Raw.
Yeah.
Which I think that's brilliant for them, because these guys are used to literally traveling week in, week out. I think Thanksgiving's coming up in America, isn't it?
Yeah.
When is Thanksgiving? A couple of weeks.
It's the last Thursday, so it's the 28th or something like that.
That's it.
Yeah.
So that would mean next week, I think they're doing a double taping so that they can all be at home for Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's nice. They haven't really done that before.
Never.
No.
28th, yeah.
Yeah. In the Vince era, it was you work through Thanksgiving, you're flying out.
You work 6 days a week, man.
7 days a week.
Oh, 7 days a week.
Yeah, it's crazy scheduling. So there's been a lot of positivity on that. Little bit of backstage news on CM Punk. He's been advertised for the December 26th show at Madison Square Garden.
Oh yeah, they've been talking. I've seen a few things about that.
Is that Saturday night main event?
No. You're right, that is in December. I think that's on December the 14th.
Okay.
But the fact that he's advertised would tell me that he's probably going to be coming back in and around that time.
Possibly.
Because obviously the last time we saw him, he was announcing that he wasn't sure when he was coming back, right? So yeah, this is maybe a little teaser. He's also advertised for the Royal Rumble next year, so
of course
he'll be back around there, and probably for Netflix's Raw debut. So it'd be good to see him back. And I feel like we've been robbed of a pay-per-view, man. I feel like the UK been robbed of a pay-per-view because there was rumblings about the Elimination Chamber being in London, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I'm gutted about that because I was really looking forward to that.
It's going to come going to Vancouver, right? Is it
Toronto?
Yeah, somewhere in Canada.
Well, we was in the running, wasn't we? And then I think Canada sort of last ditched in, no?
I think that's why they also tried to do the the international leg of the tour that's kind of leading up to Mania. They kind of heavily focused, well, not heavily focused, but the UK has the most amount of shows out of that.
Open the window, Joe. It was boiling in here. Sorry.
You're a bit hot, are you?
Yeah, it's very hot in here.
So they gave us 3 shows out of that 11 show. Like, so I think that was kind of their way of being like, we haven't forgotten about you.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a main event.
There's some important dates. So they're important Raw and SmackDowns leading up to WrestleMania, man. So
yeah,
we're in for a treat.
It's the last 3 weeks as well.
Spoke about that, but I just always prefer. I'd always rather have a pay per view. I mean, it's at the Rogers Centre in Canada, and there's been some big matches there. That's where Hogan versus The Rock was. Icon versus Icon at Mania 18.
But the thing is, okay, right. We talk about how the pay per views and where they stand in terms of their level.
Yes.
If we're going to get a main event, like I feel like it'll be a bit of a backstep for us because we had Money in the Bank over here. Having an Elimination Chamber would be good for the appeal because I would like to see the cage in person.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be a wicked show to watch. But the fact of what Money in the Bank is and how it kind of can influence the rest of the show for a whole year, that would feel like a bit of a backstep if we ended up getting Elimination Chamber after having Money in the Bank. I feel like now we kind of need to grow to one of those other ones in the top 4.
Yeah.
Well, he came over and met the mayor about bringing WrestleMania over, didn't he? But
2026 now.
So it's in a couple of years.
I think that's on the back foot now, man, because I think the Super Bowl is going to get here first.
I don't think it will.
You don't?
No.
I mean, obviously that's a hell of a lot bigger than WrestleMania is. So I would imagine if they're going to get... There's been rumblings about it. It's been spoken about. Apparently the Super Bowl will be here in the next 3 years.
They're trying it, yeah.
Mania in the next 5. Ultimately, economically, it makes more sense to have a Super Bowl here than Mania does. There's a bigger pool of fans for that. But yeah, I feel robbed. I was hoping to have the Chamber here. We're not going to get it. But on the flip side, maybe that means we'll get a SummerSlam or a Rumble or something like that.
I think there'll be more wrestling fans for a Mania than a Super Bowl.
Do you think?
There'll be more people watching in terms of Super Bowl, but in terms of people who are going to show up and people who are going to buy tickets and kind of causing that pandemonium, you're going to bring people back who haven't watched wrestling for 30 years because they're going to come back to maybe watch a Mania. They're going to be taking their children who watch it. Then you got the people who are like us, and then you got the other diehards. You got the people who've JD. He's not been to a UK show, but that will be like. If you started on something like that would be flipping crazy.
I mean, I started my live shows.
Oh yeah,
with All
AEW,
In. But that was an
WWE
experience in itself. That was at Wembley, but WWE.
Oh, but that'd be a whole nother experience.
Even that, they're just to have a Wembley show, and they're just doing like a show that big.
Well, they want to try and outdo AEW at some point when they were having a Wembley show. Come on, AEW have sold out Wembley in commas, which they probably didn't, but they'll want to outdo them.
And there is a big hard cam, to be fair.
The fact that they also did that on and they've done that once, but they're also saying that they're going to come back and do that as well. Yes. I think that WWE now realize, okay, we need to have a bit more of a hold on a bigger show.
Absolutely. Well, the UK market's always been their secondary market after the US. They always lean on us for that extra. So yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. It's just perhaps not going to happen as soon as I was hoping.
Yeah.
But then again, they're doing SummerSlam for 2 nights for the first time next year. So maybe they're doing that to subsidise the fact that America ain't going to get a Mania is also in the back of my head.
Maybe.
So yeah, we'll see.
Look, we've got Netflix collaboration soon as well. So obviously, I think their collaboration is going to, cause them to do bigger things in other countries as well.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of all the backstage news. I suppose going into kind of some storyline developments, what's been happening over the weekend. Obviously, we had SmackDown on Friday. I want to kick off with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Did you guys see him?
Yeah.
The spot?
Yes.
So obviously that's continuing. So obviously Randy came out, called out Kevin, an angry man, obviously after their the pay-per-view match at Crown Jewel that never quite kicked off. And then it had the whole, you had the whole referees trying to break everything up.
Yeah, the full brawl breaking out and everybody getting between.
The full brawl. And then Owens hit...
The pile driver.
Yeah.
The banned move.
The banned move. You cannot do that here. Do you think Vince would have let that spot happen if he was still there?
No.
Yes, I think they would.
Do you think Vince would have allowed that?
I think that Vince realised as well. Well, the thing is, it might not have even been Vince's call, but you still had Taker like kind of doing the tombstone and stuff like that. Which I think they only probably leave it to the very experienced veteran wrestlers to actually execute those moves.
Yeah, okay.
Taker though, innit?
Taker's on a different level. Taker can basically do whatever he could do whatever he wanted at the time. So
for me though, if we're talking technically about this move, right? So the tombstone pile driver is a bit different to the actual pile driver, because the tombstone, he obviously holds him at the front, close.
The guy
and
also
then you can
holds
wrap
back
your arms around as well.
Wraps his arms around, and obviously Taker puts both of his knees into the mat with his head in between them.
You just need to make sure his head's high enough. That's all it is, basically. But the guy normally signals, don't they, when they put the arms around?
That's it. But with Taker's knees, you have more protection for the guy's head to not hit the mat.
Yeah, this is like a roll. This is like an old school, the 90s, like roll up pile driver, where it's like the short one.
Yeah. But the surface you'll have, because you'll have your calves and your thighs protecting the guy's head on a pile driver, whereas the normal pile driver, which Kevin Owens hit on Randy Orton, is literally you're talking legs. That's
the
how
one
much
that got
space you
Austin,
have.
right?
That's the one that broke Austin's neck.
That's the one that got Austin. Yeah.
Owen Hart broke Austin's neck.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you, if you see that clip again, that is horrendous. All of his weight just coming down on his neck, man. My God. But yeah, but in terms of storyline, I thought this was a really, really good spot and way of advancing it. And Kevin Owens' character.
Yeah,
I mean, he is a badass heel now, man. Like we said, and that's when he's at his best.
He had that thing of almost kind of like he looked like he had almost gone into a different mind when he had done it. Didn't he? He sort of like looked like he was in regret, but he was like, "You made me do this."
Yeah, man, it was good. Obviously, he went out on a stretcher, so he's probably going to take a little break. We'll see when he comes back.
Well, he'll be back in Rumble.
I sent you the post, didn't I? I was like, "Is this a work or what?"
Yeah.
What did it actually say?
I think he just needs some time off.
I didn't even know how to.
I mean, it doesn't even feel like he came back that long ago, to be fair.
Yeah, again with Orton, like, he's just such a fan favourite, man. He's an attraction. So does having some time away help? Or is this a way of him going away and now he's going to come back? Obviously, Orton's been kind of the smiley, happy baby face, over the past year or so. Like Kevin Owens has done, he's come back as a nut job heel now. This was after last month's brutal attack where Randy Orton's been diagnosed with a cervical cord
neuropraxia.
Thank you for finishing.
There is no timetable for his return.
Right.
So yeah, after last night's brutal attack by Kevin Owens on SmackDown, Randy Orton has been diagnosed with cervical cord neuropraxia.
Yeah.
There is no timetable for his return, and I sent it to you guys, and I said, "Is this a work?"
Oh no, it is a work.
I would like to hope so, because if that's correct, Randy's come back on the basis that if he has a bad back or a neck injury, then he's done.
It's definitely a work.
If it wasn't a work, then he'd be retiring instantly. We'd be hearing that he'd be retiring straight away.
True. Yeah. But Randy Orton, in my opinion, will come back just like he was like the Viper, like the Legend Killer. He'll come back with that kind of vibe and just be an absolute beast, and then that will build to a match between them two. But yeah, good advancement. We saw some more of the Motor City Machine Guns on SmackDown, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah, they were backstage cutting promos. Calling out you guys, man.
Well, they took on Austin Theory and Grayson Waller.
Yep.
Good way to get some ring time for them. I thought they were very impressive in the ring, man.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah, I thought it was good.
Their ring work is really, really good. Really good. I think it was a good way of showcasing what they can do in the ring, which I think was the whole purpose of the match, right?
But then when they ended up going backstage and they called out, it was Street Profits, right?
Street Profits, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So which set up a match for next week. So you got Street Profits against Motor City Machine Guns for the titles next week.
Yeah. But you see a couple of weeks ago we talked about tag team splitting up. Was that last week?
Yes.
Yeah, well, look at Johnny and Ciampa.
There's a lot of that going on at the moment. Which,
wow.
Well, they also had a match. Well, look, just coming on to Street Profits before we go there. So there has also been, I was going to tie this in. No one actually knows, because the Street Profits signed their WWE contracts in 2019. Nobody actually knows if they signed a 3 or a 5 year deal.
Right. Okay.
And if that's been kept very, very hush hush, and obviously there's been rumblings about Montez Ford not being happy with his position in the company, Angelo Dawkins going to be left behind. There's been talks about that. So right now it's very uncertain. So I reckon whatever happens next week, I reckon we might see a split.
We might see the internal kind of build to whatever's going to happen next.
Or the Motor City Machine Guns just freaking bury them because they're out. But they might just be leaving the company. Who knows? It might be real. I don't actually know.
There's no fucking way that Montez Ford is leaving. There is no way.
He's expressing dissatisfaction.
It's a work.
I hope it's a work, but again, just don't know. Lines are blurred there. There's been plenty of occasions in the past where we think it's a work, but actually they're freaking gone. Becky Lynch. I thought that whole thing was a work. Her contract came up after Mania. I thought, of course she's not going to go. She's going to re-sign. She's one of the biggest women. She's gone.
She's not there, no.
So I don't know. But that, again, that's why I enjoy wrestling sometimes. The lines are blurred.
Fuck, man. I hope Montez Ford doesn't go.
Yeah.
That can't happen, man. Sorry.
Well, let's see what happens.
Triple H wouldn't allow it. No fucking way, man.
It will be no way. But you're right, though, about the split. Coming back to that, if you want to touch on that.
Well, Motor City Machine Guns were talking to Johnny.
Yes.
Ciampa comes in and is like, what the fuck you doing? What are you doing? These are meant to be guys we want to take the titles off. And they announced that they don't have the title match, and then these guys had a match with Pretty Deadly, and Ciampa basically dominated the match without tagging in Johnny. So
absolutely ran through him single-handedly, didn't he? Reminded me of his old NXT days.
Yep.
He is. I think you guys actually both said the other week, Ciampa as a solo star is like...
he's next level, man. He was definitely Triple H's guy as well in NXT.
Yeah.
He's got a different kind of like fire to him that when he's kind of in the ring, I think it's just there's something that's kind of commanding about his style. He's fun to watch, man.
Yeah. I mean, he's a beast, but you're right. Didn't even tag in Gargano. He was booked to the moon there. Just an absolute destroyer. Came in and just ripped these guys to shreds. Gargano didn't even get a look in. So yeah, perhaps we're going on some creative direction with them.
Yeah, they're obviously trying to build a bit of a story there.
Yeah.
They had their kickoff when the Motor City Machine Guns offered the match to Street Profits.
Yeah.
That's it.
Street Profits are there as well, rubbing it in.
Yeah. So yeah, some splits potentially on the horizon, but I'm liking the tag team division at the moment. I think Motor City Machine Guns are just going to be here as reliable tag team champions for now, have some great matches. Hopefully we'll see a bit more character development with them on the mic with some promo skills. But yeah, great showcase for them. Great story. We'll see what happens. We've obviously just coming into Raw, we will come back to other business. I want to talk about Gunther. Did you guys see Gunther kick off Raw this week?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know how much of it you saw. I know it was only yesterday when we were recording this.
So he had another spat with Kaiser.
Kaiser,
yeah. So he came out, and obviously then Priest came out because obviously Priest is
Priest was
Gunther.
cooking him, man.
Oh mate, what a promo from him! Yeah, what a promo from Priest. I had my doubts on Priest, but
it looked like he legitimately made Gunther speechless, man.
Yeah,
like there was nothing he could say, and he just wasn't letting him talk, agitating him like to next level.
Well, I just think Damian Priest looked the most confident on the mic that I had ever seen him.
Yeah,
doing a promo. So, like, he's really, really coming into his own now, in my opinion. He came out and he absolutely cooked Gunther on the mic. And yes, it's the first time you see Gunther really looking doubtful. I think that's the whole seed they're trying to plant, isn't it? Gunther's lost to Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel. First time he's maybe looking a bit weak.
He was doubting himself even when he went to... He thought he was going to attack him, didn't he? And he took a step back.
That's it. This vibe of yours is started fading because you started doubting yourself. So that's kind of the route they're going down. Damian Priest, he rocked the Bad Bunny shirt. Did you see that?
Yeah, Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
Puerto Rico was in the house.
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't seen Bad Bunny in a while. I know he's been doing music. That's what he does.
Doing music.
Yeah, but perhaps he'll be making his way back. Who knows? But yeah, and then obviously Ludwig Kaiser came out as you just mentioned.
Yeah, so started basically sounding off, bigging up Gunther, and just basically had enough, didn't he?
More of the same of kind of what Adam was saying last week as well, where Gunther tried to say to him, it kind of just be like, take it down a notch, and then he was just like,
take it down, mate. He grabbed that mic, he hushed him up,
and then he was just like, no, not having it.
Which then led to obviously Priest and Ludwig having the match later on.
Yeah,
and again, Priest, man, he is so fun to watch in the ring now. Like I think like we touched on it before. I know he's got like the Undertaker vibe. Some of his moveset, some of the things like the choke slam, the big kind of running boot, that kind of vibe. But
kind of attire as well.
Yes,
thing. It's like just with a different kind of edge.
Yeah, but he's fun to watch in the ring. He's explosive with his opponents. He again booked to the moon, 1, 2, 3 on Ludwig. But Ludwig also looked really, really good. in that match. Like his in-ring skills, some of his selling that he was doing.
His selling's great.
Yeah, really, really good. So I think he's probably he's probably the most underrated worker in the company right now in terms of his in-ring. And again, I think there's big things for him to come. I think eventually there'll be a split there between him and Gunther.
Oh, it's happening. They're showing the cracks already. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, for sure. So it's a nice little build there. Other bits on Raw. Speaking of cracks, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there was Kofi and Pete Dunne had a match. Obviously, just sprawled from a little backstage segment. Xavier accompanied Kofi, but yeah, Xavier effectively cost Kofi the match, didn't he? Inadvertently again, via distractions.
When is it that they're having the New Day anniversary Raw? When does that usually come?
That's in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. There we
2
go.
weeks time. Okay.
The 10-year anniversary of the New Day.
Are we thinking that's when the split's going to happen? They've kind of been teasing this for a while.
Something's got to happen. I mean, Woods is already, for me, a great heel, and he's not even officially turned heel yet.
Yeah,
like he is doing such a good job as a heel. Like even as attire when he comes out, he's obviously been dressed in black the past few weeks. You know, that's very heel clothing. But some of the things that he's doing, some of his heelish moves, his anger, his bitterness towards Kofi, I think he's doing a great job. So yes, you're right, AJ. I think something has got to happen in 2 weeks' time, and they teased it. They're teasing it like, oh, you've got the anniversary coming up. Will they make it that far? So yeah, it's just going to be weird. Do you remember when we went to 31? We went to WrestleMania 31.
Yes.
Freaking ages ago now, man.
Yeah.
And that was when they'd first kind of formed the New Day. We watched Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Big E come out to literally a zero response. And I was thinking these guys are going to be here for 6 months and they're going to crack. It's going to be out. And here we are. I think
that's when their builds just kind of started. I think they
were heelish at the beginning, weren't they? So the reaction wasn't quite there for them as heels. You had Kofi as a face.
Everyone just thought they were kind of a bit like the dumb group, pretty much. But they obviously lent into that, didn't they? Mm-hmm. Kind of turned the crowd.
Mate, they were just three guys just put together. They had the whole choir thing. It was rubbish, man.
What's actually happening with Big E? I know he can't wrestle, but is he? I'm surprised. Why is he not being shown in kind of any promos or anything like that? He does the comment, not the commentary, but like the
pre-shows,
post-show and the pre-show and stuff like that.
He does a lot of that. He's more of a pundit now. Yeah. I think it's his neck, man. Ever since he broke his neck.
No, but they could still have him. He could still be involved in the storyline. At the end of the day, he should be there on the 10-year anniversary. And if there's going to be a split there, he should be involved. No.
Yeah. No. There's not a 10-year anniversary without Big E.
Good shout. I didn't even think of it incorporating Big E into it. But yeah, great shout, man. He's got to be there on the 10-year, isn't he? Maybe they do. Maybe they write him into the storyline. But
where is it happening? I just can't wait to hear him at the beginning. Don't you dare be sour.
Man, that was good, man. I felt that all the way through my headphones, man. That made me vibrate.
Good.
But yeah,
hope you can't hear anything after this episode. Ruin your ears.
Oh. But yeah, New Day is coming for sure. Bronson Reed and Rollins, that's advanced a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Sound a bit faded, huh?
Bronson Reed and Rollins.
There we go.
That's advanced. I think they've dragged this out as far as it possibly can now. I don't know what your thoughts are on it. Did you see what happened on Raw between them two again?
Yeah, they're having yet another match. To be honest, I'm a bit over it. I thought his promo kind of skills were they're a bit stiff.
Bronson.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
When he kind of he was giving the spiel down the camera, I just felt like it was a little bit.
Meh.
Yeah,
not much.
He'll get there. He'll get there. I mean, if they're fighting again, then he has to win.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's run its course. I feel like this program has done really good things for Reed, even though he's obviously taken a loss to Rollins, but he's obviously cemented himself as a main eventer, which we've touched on. But I don't think there's much more they can really do with the rivalry now. I mean, they had the separation, they broke them up, they were fighting. Adam Pearce came out again.
Yep. This is the last time. I've had enough.
Have the match. So that's them two Raw next week.
If he gets the W over this, then where does it kind of leave the story? Because obviously Seth got the W.
Well, there might be something else later on down the line. Might be some unfinished business, but maybe they do carry on for another one.
It's interesting,
but for the sake of Bronson Reed being in the ring with Seth and having a program with Seth, he needs a win.
Yeah, he needs a win. I mean, I don't know how I'd book it, to be honest with you, because we've only had one match, you're right. I mean, unless they tie in some other kind of story into it. It's interesting they're doing it on a Monday Night Raw and not on the pay-per-view again. They could add a stipulation in, but I don't, it's interesting booking. Just tells me there's more to come.
Well, there might be more to come on both parts, man. There's some things that have happened with other people on both brands, and we get to discuss.
Yeah, that obviously intertwined into it, didn't it? And I suppose the last couple of bits on Raw that are notable. Your boys are back.
The boys are back in town. They got the beat down. The Miz, man. The Miz.
That's still the Miz's bitch, though, as you said.
Yeah.
Mrs. Bitch.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I don't want him to be Mrs. Bitch anymore. And what happened?
Well, he didn't get the chair shot from Miz, did he?
No.
Well, the whole thing turned out to be some kind of setup, didn't it?
So yeah, I saw the promo. They was kind of like they were looking for the Wyatt Six, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were saying, you had your issue with the Wyatt Six last week. They took you away. They had you like kind of handcuffed up to the chair. Where are they?
I believe as well, just off the back of that, considering there's a storyline enveloped, I believe Paul Ellering is no longer with the company.
No, I think that was a way of writing him out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what use is Paul Ellering really?
Well, he's a name.
Who's this?
Yeah, Paul Ellering was the Authors of Pain old manager.
Oh yes.
He also used to manage the Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
Do you remember? You had
he used to wrestle back in the day as well.
You had SummerSlam 92, didn't you? Do you remember when they all came out on the bikes?
Yeah.
Their entrance, mad.
It's supposed to be Mad Max influence, wasn't it?
That's it. Yeah, that's it. He's been around the company for a long time, but realistically, his worth and his use in this storyline, the guy's 71 years old, a lot of travelling. I think perhaps his time was just done, and that was a way of writing him out.
So what, they wrote him out by doing what? Sorry?
Uncle Howdy just Manimal clawed him, written off.
Yeah.
Gone.
And then they said that because they took out Paul Ellering, someone who has been around like your family before you were here, you've taken him out, and that's disrespect, and now we're coming for you.
Now we're here. It's a good angle. It's a good angle. What do you think of I think Karrion Kross is doing a great job with this, though.
He's again someone who's come from the indie scene as well. Killer Kross.
Yes, and he had a great run in NXT as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I really liked his clock gimmick. Sounds weird if you haven't seen it before.
TikTok.
Just Scarlett coming up with that, and it's when your time's coming soon. I liked that.
Yeah.
That was essentially his gimmick beforehand.
He's definitely got something about him. He's good on the mic. He cuts good promos. He's good at building stories. Good in the ring. Big dude. But yeah, I think this is a good little program. I think this is a good way for the Wyatt Six to be reinserted into something.
Yeah. I don't want. It's hard to go against my boys, but for the sake of Karrion Kross and his legitimacy as a superstar as well in the company, they kind of need to go over.
It's good to see him.
If I'm honest,
it's good to see Kross in a significant storyline now, because he's kind of been floating for a while, and they've got the Miz incorporated in it. And when you have the Miz in it, I mean, he just makes things brilliant. Bit out of his realm being in this particular storyline, but it's just good to have him involved. So yeah, it was the first time though that the Wyatt Six took a beating.
Yep,
they all took a beating literally on Raw. Miz chair shotted him. They all took a battering. So first time we've seen him weakened, which is good to see, because we've just seen him running through people. See where that develops. And then we had the main event. We had the women's tag team championship match, which I actually thought was the match of the night.
Yeah, it was actually quite good.
Superb match. Great in-ring action. So Bianca and Jade against Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, probably the top 4 women in the women's roster right now that Rhea's gone. So it's a good way of keeping this building. But there's a lot of interference.
Obviously, they're going to use it so they can build for whatever's going to happen at Survivor Series, I guess.
Yeah, I think they've just set the stage here. for a women's War Games match, basically.
Yeah.
Is what's going to happen. Obviously, Naomi and Io Sky came along and get involved. Obviously, Nia Jax and Stratton also got involved. So, yeah, you just had a brawl at the end of the match. They won. It was high pace, fast action. There was some near finishes. I thought they put on a really, really good match. But yeah, Bianca Belair.
I love Io Sky, man. She's fun.
She is fun.
She's very fun.
Yeah. And again, great in the ring, but good creative. They retained. Let's see where this goes. It'll be a War Games match, but they need a 5th women each. So see where it goes. Which I suppose then goes round to the other.
Did you say 5?
5 on 5.
5 people in the match.
It should be a 5v5 in the War Games. Yeah,
right, okay.
Yeah.
You weren't having it out with anybody online about that,
Well, someone look for clarification,
Explain
right?
this,
For
Jake.
clarification, someone commented on a video. It's going to be 4 versus 4 for the Bloodline and OG Bloodline.
What platform is this on, please?
This is on Facebook,
Yeah.
It's been happening out.
and this is off the back of SmackDown pre-Raw, but post SmackDown. Some guy online. He's got a few thousand followers. Funny enough, but anyway,
He's a celeb,
he said about it should be a 4v4, and I said, well, Solo quite literally said, it will be 5 versus 5. He then proceeded to tell me to look and read what he said because us understanding isn't very good. But then his direct quote was, "It's 4v4."
Tag him.
It's 4v4.
We'll have to tag him in this video.
No. Don't worry about it.
We could send
It doesn't matter.
JD could send it on to him.
I've been outvoted.
I messaged him. I messaged back off of the reply, a bit nicer. But then, obviously, after Raw, I messaged back on the thread, and I was like, "I hope you've seen Raw."
And he was like, "Now it's official."
Yeah, now it's official. Yeah, but when it was kind of it was officially announced, so to speak. But I kind of get it from what he meant. It's fine because we'll get into it. Anyway.
Well, let's get into it now because that's really the last thing to talk about, which is the hottest ticket. I mean, I thought all of SmackDown, pretty much most of SmackDown, was geared around the Bloodline, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And obviously the storyline developments. What did you guys think of it? I'll throw it out. You saw all that happened.
I liked that Sammy came out. He got invited to SmackDown to talk to Roman. He still made him crack a little bit. He basically told Roman that Roman loved him. And then he's like, right there, it's the smile, the crack. He's like, okay, is it a bit over the top, but it was quite funny.
You could see that Reigns was trying not to laugh.
Yeah,
he was trying as hard as he was like pulling his face like saying like, "What are you talking about?" But the way he was doing it, I was like, you could tell he's trying not to crack up.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's fueling a bit more tension between Jay and Roman as well because Sammy said he wanted an apology, but not for him, but for Jay.
Yep,
didn't apologize. Said he's sorry for wasting his time.
Yeah. So it started with Roman and the Usos in the ring first, and Zayn came out last, didn't he? That's how the show opened.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And obviously Zayn being invited into the ring, but it was all about, the whole segment was about Jay trying to get Reigns to accept Zayn back into the Bloodline fold, into the War Games team because they need him, which is kind of how Crown Jewel finished, right? It was but yeah, I thought the segment was well done. It was like a to be continued, wasn't it? Because then they obviously looped round towards the
end,
towards later on in the show.
Yep.
But they had a spat backstage as well. Roman told him to go find Sammy. Told Jay to go find Sammy.
Yeah.
Jimmy was like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Why don't you go find your brother?" Yeah.
Yeah. So he was left on his own.
On his own, and I think that's planting seeds of I wouldn't say fantasy booking. It just seems inevitable now. We're going to see one particular wise man make an appearance soon. I think that's got to happen.
Well, the whole thing about it now is who is going to be the fifth man for each team.
I get that. We'll talk about that. But back to Paul Heyman for a second. With this particular segment I saw, I believed that it almost had a sense of Roman feeling like he's not in complete control and he needs a bit of guidance as to how can he keep a level head and accept this fully.
He's vulnerable.
He needs some guidance.
Yeah.
From a storyline perspective, obviously he knows what he's doing, but And I think that's where Paul comes in, Mr. Heyman.
Paul Heyman will definitely be reintroduced at some point.
I want to see him at Survivor Series. If I don't see him at Survivor Series, what's the fucking point?
Yeah. Well, I think you're right.
This whole program.
I mean, the whole thing. I mean, obviously at the beginning, I think at the end when all four of them raised the ones. Good to see the original trio back again. So that picture's there.
The original four.
So Paul Heyman's the fifth man.
No, he's not the fifth man. But let's talk about the fifth man. So
He took the powerbomb well last time. He took the powerbomb very well.
That's literally where we're at now, isn't it? Yeah, through the table. Brilliant. That was the best powerbomb of the year.
So wait, he's there just like with his tired face.
Yeah, grey hairs. He didn't sleep for 2 days on purpose, did he? To make superb from Paul Heyman, man. What a guy.
Yeah.
But that's really all that's left to talk about now. I mean, look, the stage is set. We've been talking about this War Games match for months now.
Well, yeah, for a long time waiting for that.
We knew this is where it was going to go and this is how it was going to culminate. And for me, it's going to be the most anticipated War Games match has ever been. Like the storyline development, even the way we're talking here, right? We're not even talking about in-ring action. We're not even talking about wrestling.
We're talking about the cinema.
We're talking about the cinema and the storylines intertwined in this.
Look, there's a lot of people that are sick of it now. I don't really understand. Like for the casual viewer that want to see just trying to compare it to other things. Maybe it is a bit of a but for me it's top tier, man. I just for me, as I said, like for me it's EastEnders. It's great. It's great, man.
Mate, it's a series that you'd see on Netflix. Like WWE are obviously picking up on that. They know that these days it's all about people want to binge series. They want to be invested in long-term stuff. They want to watch 10 seasons of Suits, or they want to watch 6 seasons of Breaking Bad. That's what people want to do. This is now that form. Like you said, we're on Bloodline season 4, right? Mm-hmm. Exactly the same concept, but just brought into wrestling and sports entertainment. That's all they've done. They've capitalized on what's going on in the world, and that's what WWE are good at. But I think the storytelling in this has just been, as I keep banging on about, just second to none, man. Like, it doesn't get much better. Everyone's so invested in it. And this match, this War Games match, I honestly cannot wait for this.
Look, we've got a few weeks until it happens.
2 weeks.
It's been announced for a couple of weeks now. We've got a 5v5 announced. Who's it going to be? We saw Sammy speaking to Seth.
Yeah, Raw. This will happen on
Raw. We saw Solo speaking to Seth as well.
Yeah. I hope they don't go in that road, man. I don't really want. I don't know. I mean, it could just be like Seth. Maybe Seth will go on Solo side, and maybe Cody will. I don't know.
No,
Cody.
Look, like here's my take on it. Right, if Cody involves himself again, then The Rock needs to come in as the fifth man on Solo's team. It's the only way. It's the only way that happens. I don't think that happens. I think Rock makes an appearance at Survivor Series. I don't think he gets involved in the match.
Yeah.
If he gets involved in the match, it's not going to be on 2 weeks' notice thing. Certainly, it will add shock value. If he does insert himself last minute and maybe he's the mystery fifth man for but another thing kicking about as well, I thought personally if Seth does get involved then maybe Bronson goes over to Solo side,
that's another
and then
potential.
you have and that's a way to cap off their their best of 3 kind of thing.
That could happen next week when they have their match.
It's a potential. There might be some involvement. You never know. You you might see Bloodline get themselves involved in that match and fuck over Rollins for the saying no.
That's a good
it's a good shout. The not so likely to happen, but the stars are kind of aligning. You've got Lance and OI, who's now at WWE and signed to the NXT brand, but you've also got Hikuleo.
Hikuleo, you've spoken about him many times.
Who's still signed and sitting there waiting to come on. Maybe they introduce new people into the Bloodline mix. It would make story sense to add more members of the Bloodline. But really and truly, if there's anyone that I wanted to see, it would be Umaaga's son, man, Zilla. I want to see him. He's not
Zilla
signed. He's definitely out there, but he's not in there. Not going to happen though. Not this close.
They've got to be. I agree. They've got to be on their way, haven't they, at some point? Yeah. But I just think for a mainstream pay-per-view like Survivor Series, which is top 4, to then have new characters, if you like, or new wrestlers, new athletes into a 2-week build towards a match like this ain't going to be long enough to develop.
Yeah, that'll be very cold.
Or unless it's I mean, well, look at what happened with Rocky Maivia back in the day. His first
match was at
Survivor Series unannounced. No, and there's no hype behind that. He just turned up.
I looked this up the other day because we had Solo. He debuted at well, he didn't because I looked this up because I wanted to find out if it was accurate, but he obviously his main show debut was
Clash at the Castle.
But
Wales.
he had actually appeared on NXT before then, hadn't he?
He was a North American champion.
He sort of he had a smaller run before he was kind of thrown into the big pool, so to speak. So I think that if they were going to be, like you say, if they were going to be bringing someone in, there'll be some sort of build happening somewhere else before they insert someone new. I think it would be very, very bold for them to just bring someone new and insert them in War Games.
Well, Hikuleo was big in Japan, man. New Japan. And then you've got Lance, who's been on the Indies. So it's like, look at Motor City Machine Guns, for example. They've come in at short notice.
Yeah, they have.
Then they've been known prior to WWE, and they're now tag team champions.
They have.
Hikuleo was part of Bullet Club. So was Tamatonga. Tamatonga came out of nowhere, and Tongaloa was obviously Hunico or whoever he was, or Camacho prior, but back here, tag team champions very, very soon. Again. Yeah, I guess, but obviously at very short notice. These are people that might not be making a huge impact unless they're very well.
Well, I think they'll make an impact. It depends how they're booked. But I just think for a pay-per-view like Survivor Series, which is one of the big four, it's gonna garner a lot of mainstream interest. A lot of casual fans might even be interested in watching it. People want to see names that they're familiar with.
What would attract you the most as the two final members on each team?
So I was going to ask you boys the same question. Who do you boys want to see as the fifth man?
I'm asking you.
Honestly, I do not know. I can't answer the question.
That's a great answer.
Because I don't know. I want WWE to throw something at me that's going to make me go, ooh.
See, the thing is with WWE at the moment,
I want them to get creative with me.
You can go for a logical answer. You can go for an out there answer.
Yeah.
And you can go for like in between, and they'll think of something else.
Yes,
do you know what I mean? But it's not a swerve. It's they're thinking about every aspect of what could possibly happen. As before, it was a bit more predictable. John Cena winning all of his matches.
Well, this has been predictable because we've been seeing the War Games match come in for months.
Yeah, we've seen it come in for months, but the way they've got there,
it's
been on point.
It's been perfect. But I now want to see them throw something at me that's going to be quite like the sound of that. That's interesting. So who's the fifth man going to be? That is literally what it's all about now. It's going to be like that for the next week or two. AJ, what about you, man? You got anybody that you think you'd like to see inserted into that?
Nobody stands out to me right now. I'm actually just having a bit of a browse because I'm thinking exactly like what you're saying. I think it could just be maybe a callback to something that's maybe happened in the earlier days, maybe someone they've teamed with, someone who they've got involved with in a way that they should, if they've got a bit of bad blood with somebody.
Yep.
So I think it will be some sort of callback. I don't think it will be a new debut, but I could be wrong. But I'm not too sure. I don't actually have a name. I might just throw one out just before the show ends.
I'm not privy to the fact that if you do bring in new people and they're literally directly in the bloodline anyway, like through family, it seemed like a bit of an overkill. If I'm honest, I don't want them to ruin this sort of story by it. But then again, it would make sense to bring in blood on each side. But if it's logically, it should be Seth and Bronson. Logically, from my perspective, if they do get involved more with Seth, then that's going to be happening.
That's just because they're having a feud. Why intertwine that feud with Bloodline business? Keep it separate, man.
Yeah,
like I think they could be more creative with it.
That's the thing. I think if they were going to bring in Rollins, I think they can bring in Rollins, but it has to be on a similar level of whoever it is that they're going to bring in the other person. I don't think. While it makes more sense to involve Rollins, but not necessarily Bronson. I think that's a bit more of a stretch.
Rollins has got the Reigns tie, Shield days, all that stuff. Yeah, so there's history there. But they've been going at it for a while. They had the WrestleMania thing. Who knows? But only one man has the answers.
That's Big Paul Levesque.
Big Paul Levesque. So we will find out what he's got planned for us. But I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm invested as always. AJ's tired. We're going to wrap this up. WWE has been talked about. But yeah, the big one for me, off the back of all this, 25% of SmackDown was consumed by Bloodline business. Just shows you how big this is. And this storyline will continue to build, as will the Survivor Series card. I think we've got a couple of matches already booked for that, and that's coming in the next few weeks, so we'll talk more about that as it comes. But again, just great products. I thought the shows were average this week altogether, but some good developments for Survivor Series and War Games coming up.
I certainly haven't lost interest.
No, mate. I know.
It's just a given now at the moment. It's just like...
It's really going to start ramping up now as we get closer to Netflix and the Rumble season. I can't wait for Rumble.
It's been a long time coming, man.
Yeah. I think in terms of this week, I think the one that's had the best build for this week in particular is Priest and Gunther. Now that Gunther's stepped out of Crown Jewel and the way that's kind of been, we knew this match was coming anyway, but like you say, Priest work in the ring and stuff like that, and the involvement with Ludwig Kaiser, I think that has been the one that's advanced a lot more. The one that's happening with the Bloodline is a bit, we're thinking about all the possible scenarios, but it's happening very like drip by drip sort of thing. This one actually felt like there was a little bit of
there's some momentum there.
Momentum towards the story.
Honorable mention from Raw. Okay. I said something the other day in the group. I said Finn Balor is going to leave the Judgment Day.
You did. Yeah, there was a segment, wasn't there? You also
said this in the chat.
You also said that Priest's and Balor's feud is not over yet.
I did say that.
They'd like us to think it's over.
It's not over yet.
But it's not. You're right, yeah.
I see either Finn removing himself entirely, which again removing himself from Devlin, or they go off together and start something new together. I'd like to see a Bullet Club OG reunion.
I love your fantasy booking, J-Dog. It's fantastic, man. It's fantastic. Your brain has got some creative ideas, It's really good.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, a lot of what you say many weeks before comes to fruition.
Sometimes.
So maybe at the end of every single week we do this, you can drop in a fantasy book and see if it actually happens. So this week you are saying down the line, Balor will remove himself from Judgment Day and start an OG Bullet Club.
I don't think it'll be an OG Bullet Club, but I'd like to see him with Gallows and Anderson again. Maybe have JD in there. I think JD might be in Bullet Club, but you've got flipping Cody Rhodes there. You've got Hikuleo. You've got Tama Tonga. These are all people that were Bullet Club OGs anyway. AJ Styles.
Where's AJ Styles? Where is AJ Styles?
I'd love to see Finn and AJ Styles back on the same page,
man.
That's never happened. That's never happened in WWE though.
You're stretching the lines now, man. Flipping out. There's some mad fantasy.
There is.
We're talking years down the line now.
No, but think about it now. We're now at a point where AJ Styles is probably on his second to last leg for wrestling in general. To get some callbacks for him, even so, would be great.
They could go in all different directions, but bear in mind, it's taken them 6 months to get the Bloodline back together. Some very slow burning stories there. You've spoken about a lot there. A lot of that will probably take years and years to happen. I think really? One step at a time. I think Balor coming out of the Judgment Day might be the first step.
Yeah, he's coming out. I want to see the Demon Balor.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to see a heel Demon Balor.
I haven't seen Demon in a while. Yeah, it could happen.
Thought about that. We won't talk about it now. Obviously, we've talked about filming extra content just so that we can just throw out some couple shorts or maybe some short form content. Yeah. Maybe some 5-minute videos or something like that.
Yeah.
One of them that I had an idea for, and I don't want you guys to say it now because we'll save it for the video, but I guess one of them is also going to be the build for either we won't go as far as Mania, but we'll talk maybe the Royal Rumble, but also I think one of the main ones will be the first episode of Raw on Netflix.
Yeah, what we think is going to happen with it.
I think that is going to be a good one to call. I think we can kind of see, especially with Mania happening.
Yes.
No, sorry, Royal Rumble happening kind of around that.
Oh man,
that time.
Completely separate.
We need to cut this recording now. I've got so much to say.
He's going to explode.
January 6th.
Oh my god, you made my brain go into a meltdown there, man.
I've been thinking about it as well, so that's been one of the things on my mind. So we need to record that soon before we actually start getting people talking about that.
I was going to say.
So we need to record that sooner, even if we have it on the logs. But we'll make some calls.
I was going to say, how soon do you want to do that? So you don't want to do it when you can see the landscape. You want to see it before the landscape happens.
We're projecting. We're projecting.
Right. Well, best time to do that will be the week before Survivor Series, because we will have everything. The stage will be set. Once they get through Survivor Series, the build to the Rumble begins, and we'll be going right through Netflix to get there.
Yes, exactly.
So we will. I think that's the time to do it.
Yeah, no, Netflix is going to be the catalyst.
Yeah.
Oh man, I need to start writing these things down because I will forget.
Yeah, so start making some notes. Don't drop it in the group because we want to save it. We want to save it for the video.
Oh shit, man!
We'll talk about that at length.
I've got a banger of a match that I already know is possibly happening.
Don't say anything, J-Dog. Don't say anything.
Can't contain himself.
Big one in WWE. We'll obviously cap that off next week. But this week it's all about 309, man. 309. Jones, Stipe, big one. I'm going to be...
Do the right thing.
Yes, Jones, please do the right thing. Talk about storyline development. That's the story we want to see conclude. And so, big one. I'll be watching it. I'm sure you guys will as well. KG Canvas episode 9. Is there anything you guys want to add on at the end?
One more thing I'd like to add, boys. Next week, we are on episode 10.
Episode 10. So what should we do for
double
that?
digits?
I think we should just randomly throw up a sign behind us.
Well, like a neon light.
Yeah, just something like a neon light, man. Just chuck it up there.
Well, just here?
Yeah, just there. I think that'll do. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you reckon?
I think special guest episode. I think we got to get 10 here himself.
What a guy.
Sean Spears,
What a guy. The chairman.
We can bring a guest on next week, no? Should we get someone on?
Yeah, we can get someone on.
We'll see if who's available.
Well, you've called it now, so you're going to have to find out. But somebody knows what they're talking about.
Someone knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a couple of people.
Oh, man. It'll be hard, though. We would have to work out the logistics of that. We've got 3 mics.
I think that's down the line. But I think that's a good idea. The neon sign is a good idea.
I think the neon sign is a good idea.
And
just,
maybe
we'll make it ourselves.
Every 10
just lob it up there.
episodes, we'll add something.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the neon light. Then when we get to episode 20, we'll add something else. We'll add every 10.
We'll get some stuff going.
Yeah. But yeah, boys, it's been a pleasure as always. Signing out.
See you
next week.
Ciao.